All right. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Serious Angler podcast, powered by our friends over X2 Power Batteries. Back with the captain. Thank you for holding down the fort last week while I was out.
Yeah.
I'm back. I'm your host, Bailey Eichbrett. Dude, how was last week's episode? You and Deacon holding down the fort, Mr. Matt Becker.
Oh, it was great. We had some non-forward facing sonar talk, so that always appeases some of the crowd. And he's had a great start to the season over on the BPT, carrying over his AOY from last year. It was a really good episode. We talked about some power fishing, little cricket tickling, and all the good stuff.
I love that's starting to catch on. Clint in the comments calling it cricket tickling, and now guys are making T-shirts on it.
It's fantastic.
Well, we'll take partial credit for that starting to catch fire.
Yes.
Oh man, I wish I could have made the episode. It was just it's been a hectic couple weeks, and I know we were chatting offline, preaching to the choir for the boys we're gonna have on here for the show today. But traveled for that tournament down on Murray, and then went and saw my parents down in Florida, and went to actually got some time with the grandparents, which is very rare for me now, being that they're all in Florida and we're up here in New York. So appreciate you boys allowing me some more time with the family and holding down the fort while I was out. But
anytime.
Yeah. So as we say this on a Thursday, which is very weird for us at the Serious Angler podcast, going live on a Thursday night. The reason for that is I literally got home, drove through the night, got home around Saturday afternoon, hung out with the wife Saturday, Sunday, and then flew out 6 a.m. Monday for a work trip. Got home last night at midnight. And so it's been a whole debacle past few weeks. So we adjusted to try to make an episode happen for everybody. And we're glad we were able to and catch these boys before things get hectic. Classic time for them. But a couple things before we get into today's show. Is there, I don't know if you saw Andy, but there's been some things I want to dive into it in a later show. That way we can save time for getting our guests on here in a minute. But some of the boys in Wisconsin, and it was funny, I was in Wisconsin literally when this was posted, and I'm sure some folks have seen it, but there's some legislation that they're discussing between the anglers of the Fish and Game. They put out something, the angler surveys, to discuss if they should ban one forward facing, but also 360, which makes no sense to me whatsoever. Neither do. But some guys were kind of up in arms saying, I can't believe this is a thing. But just remember, it takes one person just to submit these kind of things, and then it becomes a discussion. So again, there has to be a whole vote. So don't freak out. But I thought that was interesting that came about, and somebody wanted to ban 360 like that. It's been around for how many years now? I don't understand the
it's just somebody that's anti-sonar is what that is.
Yeah. It's the amount of comments that we get, literally just basically talking about both sides of it is some boomers a little bit angry. That's okay. Yeah. That also, X2 Power batteries are heavily discounted right now. I don't know if anybody is in the market for them. I mean, we always have our discount code year round, but right now on some models, there's up to $200 off, which $200 off of some lithium batteries is pretty steep.
Oh, yeah.
So you guys can take advantage of that. Unfortunately, next week, Andy, you and I will not be able to be at Red Crest. We went last year. It was a good time hanging out with some of the crew down there. The X2 crew was down there. But unfortunately, we're not going to be able to make it. We'll try to do some coverage here from home, but will be interesting to see how that goes down. But what we will be at is the Classic here in a couple weeks. Unfortunately, we won't have the whole crew. But you guys are stuck with my ugly mug at the Classic, and I hope to see a bunch of y'all down there. We'll be doing some shows at the X2 booth, and we'll have a bunch of hats too to give out. So if you see me or you're at the X2 booth, ask for a Serious Angler hat, and we'll be able to hook you guys up. Andy, anything else I might have missed before we get on our guest for today?
Did you see this? Banks open kayak fishing. Someone else proposed a question about not allowing cats outside because they kill birds, as opposed to like the forward-facing sonar talk and banner. Like, it's just, people will write a suggestion for whatever they want. But no,
I'm all about the satire.
Fork was wild. That's all I want to say. Like, insane. The two guys we have coming on, I'm sure they can explain a little bit of it for us, since they both got a century belt, which is pretty incredible in the rookie season. So
yeah, I don't know why we're sitting here talking about it. I think we should just bring these guys in. I mean, to be honest,
you can start with Wes and leave the other one in
the other one. We're calling him the other one. Yeah, we'll bring Wes on here in a second. I will want to say quick is back with the live show this week. We do have a part 2 to this show. We're trying to get consistent with that again with travel and everything. Sometimes we have weeks where it's just we can crank out a quick interview with a guest, and it might be just a part 1, but we're gonna have a part 2 tonight. Later after we get done chatting with Wes and Kyle, we'll be getting Trevor Lowe and our boy Andrew Hayes from over at Tackle Talk on the show tonight for a little bit of a fish it, box it, or trash it. I think people like that the first time we did that this year. So we're bringing that full circle. We're gonna have some fun with that. But yeah, Andy, I think we should bring on Mr. Wesley Gore. Never been on the show before. What's going on, Wes?
First time.
All y'all. Thank y'all.
Yeah, man. It's been a little hectic trying to schedule. Of course, I think with your travel partner, everything's a little bit always hectic. Seems to be.
He's way more hectic than me, but 18 days gone from home, and it hasn't slowed down since I've been back. So,
heck yeah, man. But for good reason. You guys are grinders. Hectic is a good thing. If things are slow in your guys' neck of the woods, it's probably not a good thing.
If you're not busy, then it's not good at all.
That's right. Well, dude, obviously we're gonna get Kyle on here in a second because we got some awesome stuff to talk about with you guys. But being that it's your first time on the show, we got to ask you. It's our tradition thing we do here for new guests. Is how did you get started in the first place? Who is to blame for this lifelong addiction that has led you to being on the Elite Series?
I guess no one truly. I've always grew up outdoors. I guess hunting, fishing, but I mean, it was just something that I love more than hunting. My dad was a big hunter, and I just decided to give it a shot, and it just grew from there. I mean, I started fishing at 11 years old. He got a first boat, and I've been on the water multiple days every week since then till now. I'm 23, so you're looking at 12 years and 3 to 7 days a week on the water. So, I mean, I live 15 minutes from the Coosa River. I was actually on it today. I'm burnt to death because it was 8 degrees. So, I mean, I go fishing all the time.
What part of the Coosa is home?
I live right – I call Lay Lake and Lake Mitchell. I mean, I'm about 10 to 15 minutes from either one. I mean, I live right there by them. I was on Lay today. That's the one I prefer to fish.
All right.
Sweet. So, I mean, but it just happened. I mean, that's all I guess you can really say. I mean,
yeah.
I just done well in high school and thought I had opportunity at it. Went to college for a little while and then said I'm done with that. And, had the right support behind me and decided to fish the opens, and here we are.
Hell yeah, man! It's freaking awesome. And now you're catching 100 pounds of Texas bass.
I usually do terrible in big fish tournaments. It's crazy. I'm usually a grinder kind of guy. Like when 13 or 14 pounds is good, I do well. But I don't know. I've kicked it into gear. I guess I can catch big ones too.
You sound like a Coosa guy.
Yeah. I'm used to catching like 18 pounds and that being good. More than that, it's a little above my pay grade. But we made it happen this past week.
Yeah, a couple dirty 30s and as you're rethinking where you're living, probably.
I had the opportunity to have an absolute giant back the first day. I should have had 40. I mean, with ease. I mean, I had a 212 and a 3.4 and had 32 and a half.
Good.
And I jumped off.
Did you drop a couple?
Oh, yeah. I jumped off a 7 and a 6. And then I kind of laid off of them because I hit a wave running to another area, and I ripped my graph mounts out of the floor. So I went fishing protected stuff and just flipped the bank the rest of the day, and I caught me whopping 3.4 and 212, So if I could have stayed out there the rest of the day without my grass falling in the water, I probably could have managed a little more, but I don't know if I could have recouped a 7 and a 6. But I should have had 40 by like 9 that morning.
Yeah.
Insane.
Well, it looked like a fun event, regardless of where you were at on the lake, it seemed. But it obviously predominantly was. We'll get into it a little bit more with Kyle here. But being that you're a Coosa guy, any insight or prediction as how it's going to go down for Red Crest next week on lay?
I just fished there today, and I probably caught 70 bass. I don't know if it's best 5 or
I think they do best 5 for Red Crest.
I don't know.
No, they're doing every fish counts cumulative. I looked into it. Yeah.
I mean, it's
okay. We're not even get into it.
It's going to take if it doesn't change a whole lot, you could see probably record-breaking weights. I probably had 180 to 200 pounds with all my fish today. You know, the average spot's a 3-pounder.
Are they
Zero
all
fun.
fat up pre-spawners pretty much?
I don't want to give away nothing. Not some of them may watch it, you know.
Fair
So,
enough.
but
Fair enough.
you can catch them doing whatever you want. But if they're doing every fish counts, you're going to see some of the same tactics you've seen all year play. You're at big time on spotted bass. I mean, we'll just say that.
All right. Yeah, no, that's appreciated going into next week.
Yeah.
I
mean,
didn't even it's been weird because like I thought it was recent years, Andy. It could be wrong, but they had every fish, and then it was best 5 for red crest, unless maybe that was heavy hitters. But
I wish it was best 5. Then it would take away the. If it was best 5, somebody would win going down the bank. There's some big ones up there. I mean, real big ones.
All right.
But I don't even know what the rules are, so who knows?
Yeah, when
we'll report back.
with last Tuesday with Matt Becker, we were talking a little bit about red crests, and I discovered as I was looking at it, talking to him, that it is cumulative. Most
Every
fish.
fish.
Every fish counts.
Well, you're just going to see them wreck spots. I mean, the lake won't. You'll get to see how great of a spotted bass fisher it is, and obviously you'll have some of the stubborn largemouth guys, but they'll never be able to keep up. I mean, you're going to look at they're going to get 12 to 15 bites a day, and they'll be 2.5 to 6 pounders, but the guys that spotted bass fish are going to catch 30 to 100 a day, and they're going to be 2.5 to 4 pounders, and they're just. I mean, somebody's going to catch 200 pounds.
Damn.
I think, I don't know, not unless I just know. I mean, I fish there all the time. I mean, maybe it seems like that way to me, but I really didn't try a whole lot today. I mean, I kind of just piddled around. I didn't run around. I just fished like one little zone, and I caught that many. And it's happening in a lot of other places that has bigger ones. I didn't even go to where, I mean, my best 5 weighed probably a little over 20 today, spotted bass. So
is that pretty good for lay?
I mean, it's pretty regular now. I mean, I mean, 21, 22 is pretty regular. For spotted bass, that's a big bag. I mean, I had all spotted bass. I had like a little over 20. So who knows? Damn. I wish that it was best.
And here he was saying he can only catch 15 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess fork has rubbed off on you a little bit.
Lay's a special place. It's the best on the Coosa by far. I mean, it's changed to be the best spotted bass fishery out of all the lakes now, where it used to not be. I mean, they're big now. I mean, all of them. I mean, you set the hook on one, it's a 3-pounder. You catch 30 or 40 or 50 that size a day. They're just so fat. I mean, they're not that big a fish. You're going to be really surprised. Like a 16-incher weighs 3 pounds. Damn. So they're butterballs. They're that big.
Like a Great Lakes smallmouth.
Yeah, they literally look like crappie or smallmouth when you catch them. They're spotted bass.
Was it somebody else proposed a question about not allowing?
Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I hit it with.
I was like, wait, what are we looking at?
Sorry.
Well, let's bring in our other guest here for tonight. Wild card number 2, Mr. Kyle Patrick. What's going on, man?
What's up, boys? I hear?
Welcome back.
Thanks, Andy. Dude, I overheard you guys saying you're not going to Red Crest. Why? It's like the biggest event in bass fishing.
Oh, here we go.
You aren't going to be there?
Are you going to be there?
Oh.
Well, no, I can't be there, but I just figured, since it's such a big event, you guys would, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We're here. Here's for your soapbox, Kyle. We'll get you right here by so.
Oh man.
No. Honestly, man. I will say, last year when we went to Red Crest, they treated us amazing. Like the team over there, Joe Apager, Charity, like they treated us amazing.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was just joking around, but no, I think they probably do a pretty good job. But I feel like it's just really hard to compete with the Bassmaster Classic.
It really is. I mean, we're fully
weeks.
Yeah, we're fully transparent here in that, and like in the travel that's back to back, and with trying for us to fly down, like we're not raking in money here on this podcast, flying, traveling on our own dime, and
right.
So like for the team, it's like it just made more sense. One, because our sponsors for the show are actually going to be at the Classic, and they weren't going to be at Red Crest, so we're like, well, it just made more logistical sense. We'll cover the Red Crest from home, but nonetheless, I'm just excited for the Classics. It's always big, it's always a spectacle, and I love Andy and I love it because we up here in New York, as you know, you don't get to see too many people from the industry when you're in New York.
Yeah.
Or Boston.
Like the Gunnersville ramp where you see half the dang industry.
Yeah, right. Guntersville ramp. You can just park your chair right on the line and literally see like, probably 25 of the guys competing in the classic in like a day.
Pretty much.
Crazy.
Well, dude, I guess first and foremost, we talked about it a little bit with Wes, but like rookies second event, and you guys are already in the Century Club. How the hell does that feel?
It's pretty cool, man. It's just a wild thing for me and Wesley. I mean, I've gotten to know Wesley really well. Just some backstory. I called up Wesley out of the blue. How long before they started the Elites, Wesley?
A month, probably. It was probably a month.
Yeah, a month or two, maybe. I mean, we didn't have much time anyway. And I was just like, dude, I don't know you. Basically, like we knew of each other, obviously, but I was like, you know what? Let's travel together. Let's try to make like a solid partnership, because it is hard. It's nice to have someone when you're traveling like we are. It's nice to have someone A, that you can trust, B, just to have your back in situations, like your boat breaks down in practice. Like, we have friends out there, but it's still just nice to have that one guy that you can rely on, across the board. And I just called him out of the blue, and it's been awesome, for the past two events. And I don't foresee it, anything bad happening, Wes.
Hell, if it hadn't happened yet, it ain't going to. We fished bumper to bumper at the most of the tournaments already.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. Like we've done really well fishing the same water. I mean, truly, he finished 11th at Toledo. I finished 21st, and he finished what? 7th? Yeah. And I finished 9th, and we both had 100 pounds, and we were pretty much fishing the same water. So that just shows you how many fish are in one area. Like we caught 225 pounds of bass in pretty much 3 zones.
Yeah.
On Lake Fork.
Yeah.
3 zones.
Is that because do you think you guys fish completely different, or what do you think the reason for that is? Just different like rotation, or what?
Just found really good areas, truthfully. Right? I mean,
I agree. I mean, and we were trying to fish what was happening. I mean, it probably wasn't as good as what it was. It was better in the tournament than it was practice, I would say. Like they came more and more. We were like going to areas that way were coming to us, I guess. We were just fishing spawning bays, just catching them on the way in. Well,
staging.
A little shallower than most people. They truly wasn't even staging, dude. You would literally chase them in. Like you would just see them swimming in like 2 and 3 foot going in, and you would just catch them.
So basically, you got 2 guys with ADHD that are just watching these fish go left and right, and you're like, "Oh, that way, squirrel!"
Yeah, he committed more to that bite more than I did. I had one little zone that was a little deeper, that I called them jerking in the morning times, but that disappeared pretty quick. I mean, once it got warm, it was better for Kyle. Like the first day when it was cold, I had a better bag than Kyle barely, but he still like in the evening time he caught all his weight. I caught like 32 pounds by 10 o'clock. And he caught 32 pounds. He caught all his late, which they were pulling up in the warmer weather. But once it actually stabilized and was warm, it was better for him. So I actually had to fish shallower, the last 3 days of the event. Eventually I swam a jig too. So
had to sneak that in there.
yeah, dude. The PR people, send him the message. Hey,
yeah.
Who'd you put on speed dial before the episode? Like, listen, I'm going to talk about no forward facing stuff real fast.
Yeah. No, we'll get to that because I genuinely
that is a genuine topic that I think we can like dive into and be pretty neutral on it. I think.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the idea of recognizing, hey, I'm going to need like 50 pounds to catch Trey in this. So I'm going to go throw a swim jig and have some fun. I think that was a good, probably soul decision for you to be like, let's just go fun fish. And then 2, like a PR play, like, hey, people will like me more.
Look, like where I'm from, and I mean, that's where it was created. So, I mean, hell, you got to go do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy doing it more than anything. So, hell, let's go to the bank.
Hell yeah, man. So has it gotten competitive in the house already then between you guys?
Nah, we give each other a little crap, but it's not much of nothing. I don't even think we said anything till day 4, like till we're both like,
yeah.
I finally it was like late on the last day, and I looked at him and I said, you know what, Kyle? He's like, what? I said, I get the best bed next time too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, so
man.
dive into this for folks who don't know, because I jumped in late offline.
All right,
here
so
too.
this is how it originally started. We rolled up to Texas after Toledo. Like, we're pretty beat because we had just done live mix, and like, you know, we're going in and starting practice the next day. And we roll in, and it was one of those classic Airbnb situations where one room is just, I was telling Andy before we went live, one room is just, it was like 5-star hotel room. And then the rest of the house, I was sleeping on a straight metal bed frame that every time I rolled over, it was like, and I was like, okay. So I get
So
in
watch
there,
there.
And he was on like a full size or like a twin bed or something.
dude, no, it was not a twin. It was a single. It was a single bed. I was literally like this.
It's like one of those like Ozark Trail cots that you get from Walmart.
Yes. And so we go in there and we're like trying to figure out like, okay, who's gonna get the best? And then I think Wesley was like, well, it's whoever finished highest in the last tournament. And I was like, okay, well, now you can say that, sure. But then we rock, paper, scissors, he won. And then he was like, from now on, we're gonna do the last tournament, whoever finishes highest gets the room pick, which I think is the most fair way to do it.
Like, there's no money on the line. It's just I get sleeping regardless.
Sleeping
sleep on a
rights.
hardwood floor. I mean, he don't even care.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, if you're splitting the house costs, I mean, that's probably the best way to go about it.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I mean, granted, it's only 2 events in, but I mean, I think that system might be working for you guys because, Kyle, you're sitting in 11th for AOI, and Wesley, you're in 6th. So I'd say the competition's working for you guys.
Yeah,
you're like, screw the elites.
That's all we
fishing
care
for
about.
room.
Yeah,
we
we're
don't
fishing
care
for
about
beds.
10 grand. We don't care about 10 grand, 15 grand. We just care about the next best room. That's all that matters.
The best room where I can sleep.
Yeah, you guys are coming back in and checking bass track just to see how each other did versus where you're sitting.
All right, where is he? Where is he?
Wesley tried to say it's by each day.
Wait,
Didn't you?
That'd be a lot of cleaning.
That means we got to swap each time. Nah, we ain't doing that.
No. Oh, that was Lee.
That was Lee. He was trying to say it was by each day.
Yeah. Lee
That
was
means
like,
we'd have to get our stuff. That would be ridiculous.
No, that would be ridiculous. That'd be ridiculous.
Little Chinese fire drill and
Yeah.
each day. Yeah,
Exactly.
good lord.
Oh.
Well, kind of, we'll start with Kyle and then with Wes, but like briefly walk us through your guys' fork event. Like, did you break it down in practice together, or like what was your guys' approach?
Yeah. We broke it down. I mean, both lakes we've broken down together because it's really helpful to do that. Like, you know, you can do it on your own. And we both know that we're both capable of doing it on our own, right? And, you know, it just makes it a little bit faster, and you can find, like, my open strategy, probably different than Wesley's, but I think we talked about it on the show last time I was on the show. But, like, you know, I had A spots, B spots, C spots, right? But when you combine, when you're totally sharing everything, like I called up Wesley within the first, it was probably the first 3 hours, right? And I was like, hey, you know, this is what I found. And then he would call me in 3 hours. Okay, I found something over here similar, right? And then when you do that, you can snowball off each other. So by the end of even the second day of practice, you have so many different areas and a really good idea of what's happening in each section of the lake, so that by the time, you know, the third day comes around, you know, you can really hone in how you know, that whole practice day, you can kind of, you know, get a better idea of, you know, this is what I need to do in order to, like, not guarantee a successful event, but like be a little more confident in it. And, you know, like at Fork, it was like pretty, I think we dialed it in really quickly, but, you know, some events, it can take a long time, and you may only find a few spots, but with 2 people, it just expedites the process a little bit, which leads to like more areas to you know, capitalize on in the tournament.
And
That's
Yeah, Wesley, let's hear what you have to say on it.
No, I mean, I agree. I mean, just a lot. Generally, we start practice. One of us fishes like the shallower part of the water column, and the other one fishes, you know, out. Generally, I take out and he takes in, and we just go from there. I mean, and whoever starts getting more, I guess, having success, then we both kind of lock in on that. And once we kind of get a solid, I guess, game plan for that, like at Fork, we kind of figured out like every zone in a day and a half. Like we had every creek that was good. Would you not agree with that?
Oh yeah,
And
100%.
like we started
Like
just
at
looking
Toledo,
deeper and deeper.
and dude, at Toledo, Wesley, I had seen that bite, but I was a little nervous about that offshore like minnow bite that everyone was on, or not everyone, but a lot of guys were doing. And Wesley had it dialed in. So what he did was he was just like, hey man, like just, you know, it's there, but it's not as fast and furious, and it takes a lot. Like just stay at it. Like it could be as simple like as someone just saying like, no, it's like, trust me, you're doing the right thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like just reassuring you almost that, you know, there is that bite, yeah, but like, you know, keep at it out here for a little bit. You know, it can be like little things. And Wesley that was a big help at Toledo.
I mean, he was just, you couldn't put your troll motor down and catch one in like 10 minutes. I mean, that's just not, it didn't work that way. You had to just like, if you were going to do it, you had to commit to it. Like at Toledo, I had 2 rods out, and that's what I done the entire event. I mean, if I needed another rod, I'd get it out and I'd, you know, out of the rod box.
Right. And then
I started with 2 poles every day.
And then another thing about Toledo was like throughout the event, coming home each day of the day of the tournament, because it's a 4-day event if you're doing well, obviously, and then, you know, the 3 hopefully. But like after day 2 or after day 1, I was like, hey dude, I found a grass pocket, right? Like if you need something on day 2, if you're, you know, say you need a big one, like come into this grass stretch. And he ended up coming in to and catching one, right? So it's little things like that make a huge difference. And you know, he put us on the main pattern there, like, and then like, you know, I found like a little secondary deal that he could fall back on maybe, right? Like, and it's not a one-way street. We found that it goes like, it's really, you know, cyclical, I guess would be the word, but
I mean, you can learn more as you go on as long as you got a primary zone. But I mean, like he's talking about, I caught a pretty good one, like a 4-pounder, which was a good one at Toledo. I was struggled the second day. I went from catching like 30 or 40 the first day and throwing back 4-pounders to, I mean, I caught 5 keepers the second day. I mean, they just completely vacated on me. And I actually caught, I mean, it was like my 3rd keeper, and it was a 4-pounder in that little grass area that he was talking about, you know. And then it got my day back on the track, and I caught a 5-pounder, and I finished my limit and made it. And then they all showed up the next day, and I caught 23 something.
Yeah, you got really good on day 3.
Wesley's
famous for 11th places, by the way. So make mental note of that. If throughout the year he gets like 3 more 11th, like I think in the Opens last year he had like 3 or 4 11th place finishes.
I have a bunch of
11's your lucky number, huh?
I finished 11th at Toledo in the Open and 11th there in the Elites. I mean, what's the odds of that? Come on.
Hey, it's good. So
I think you take 11th. 11th will get you in classics, man.
Yeah, I'll take it.
If you finish 11th all year, I mean, you're probably gonna be in the top 3 in standings, I would think. Too.
It must be a duo thing, because Kyle, you're literally in 11th right now for AOI.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And what are you like 11? You're what, 11 or 12 points? Is it 11 points behind Wesley in the standings?
Let me see. I got it up.
12 is 12.
Wesley's got 190.
11.
It's 12.
Oh man,
yeah.
Close
12
enough.
points back.
We'll round down.
Well, so here's a question for you guys. So, I mean, Young Guns are obviously kicking some butt right now with Trey leading AOI. I mean, you got him and Milliken, 2 other rookies that are leading AOI. You got right in front of you, Wesley, you got Kyoya, and behind you is Coop. And then, like, Young Guns killing it, but like Kyle, like looking at who's right in front of you is Jordan Lee, and then behind you is Corey Johnston. Like, has it set in for you guys yet? That you're like, holy shit, we're on the Elite Series right now.
Like, what's it like sitting at the boat ramp on day 1 and everybody's like piled in there?
Wesley,
I try not to even like focus on that. No, it really hasn't set in. I mean, it has more than what it did before we started fishing, I would say. I mean, you realize that you're doing it. I mean, full time. I mean, you're with the big guys. I mean, the big dogs, whatever you want to call them. the people that has careers and have already made their legacy. But I mean, if you think about that stuff, you'll never be successful because you're getting diminished in their spotlight the whole time. So you have to make your own spotlight. That's the way I look at it. So I try not to focus on them. Obviously, I give them credit where it's deserved, and I don't want to push my boundaries with them. But it's all about making your own spotlight and your own legacy. So I try to focus on that more than I do everybody else's.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Kyle's just like his opens picture on the first day of the elite season.
That is true. Look, so like I feel the exact same way now. But for me, I am like such a we all are, but I am like overly diehard fan of bass fishing. I always have been. So seeing all my idols, around, I was like, yeah, this is pretty wild. I was getting the jittery, like excitement. But dude, once Dave Mercer, and then so Dave Mercer calls your name through the talks about your achievements, Bassmaster Classic qualifier, Opens winner, and then you're running 70 down the lake. You're thinking about it for the first 10 seconds, but then, dude, you're just in a derby. So all I think about is catching the biggest 5 fish I possibly can. And that eats me up all day. I don't even have time to think about anything else. And I'm sure Wesley's the same. I'm sure a lot of guys are like that. I just think about how to best catch 5 big fish. But in the backside, at the meeting, I was a little starstruck at first, but then, it all just feels natural because there was more for me. I felt more pressure in an open than I did in my first Elite Series event.
100%. 100. It's not even
Really?
close. 100, way more.
You think it was just a prep thing? Like it just got you used to that?
I think it did a really good job of that.
I mean, I think it prepares you for that, but I think you're also more focused on, I got to get here and you can't slip up. And obviously you don't want to slip up in elites, but I feel like it relieves you once you're there, a lot more than it does when you're trying to make it. I don't know.
You can't slip up in AOY, right? But you can have a 70th place finish in the elites, and it's not detrimental to your career, right?
Yeah.
In the opens, if you have the equivalent of a 70th, which is a 140, right? 140 or so, you're in trouble. It is extremely challenging to dig yourself out of that hole. So I think that's where there's less stress for.
You can still make a classic with a 70th.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. The thing about it is there's 100 guys versus 225. You're all doing it at a high level, and you work. I guess all those guys kind of understand it a little better. You can work around them a little better than you can in opens. I mean, some of that stuff, the opens is a dogfight. I mean, and obviously the elites are too, but you can fish around people. I've been around Kyle, but I've also been around several other anglers this year already in 2 events, and there's no conflicts. You just fish your own water. That don't happen in the open. I mean, at all. I mean, you're always worried about somebody being on this and it making or breaking your tournament. And I don't know. It's a lot more stressful to me, in my opinion.
It's probably a nice, honestly, breath of fresh air.
Oh, absolutely.
So
for the most part, guys are more respectful of all that. Can probably communicate better. If you're in the area with them.
Yeah, you understand how to communicate better. Maybe that's a good way to put it. They, obviously they'll pick their zone, and it's just there's a lot more moral in it, I guess. Or
way more. I make sure I did it in the opens too, but a lot of guys it's simple things, right? I had one of my primary areas, or not actually, it was technically, what I'm talking about, where they were schooling back there, Wesley, at Ford. One of my literally on that area sat Brandon Polinick and Jeff Gustafson, literally within 200 yards of each other. And I roll up and I'm like, oh, and I'm easing in, and I kind of just yell out, I'm like, hey man, you mind if I just fish to this dock and cut across up here and down there? Yeah, man, go ahead. It's just simple things like that I felt was, if I were in Brandon Polinick or Jeff Gustafson's shoes in the open, I wouldn't have someone say that to me. They would just come in, maybe, get real close. I've had people in the opens, man, and I'm not throwing shade, but they do things without a proper sort of discussion prior. Like that's the courtesy thing to do. And I feel like there's more of that than the
I feel like it's the pressure that makes people do that. Knowing that you can't mess up, it's like I got to get right here. Versus in this, it seems a lot more relaxed, but it's not at the same time. I mean, the fishing part of it is. It's not as intense.
I mean, part of that too is that there's only 100 boats, right?
Yeah,
so there's a lot more areas. Like you could say, okay, well, I mean, yeah, they're there, but I can cycle to a different area and then come back, and maybe they've moved on. Whereas the opens, like someone else is just coming in there. Like if you don't get there, and it's a good area, that one guy leaves. And if you leave for a second, someone's pulling in. Like there's just that many people, that many boats,
And like in an open, you can't. For me, I didn't seem like I could move around as well. Like if I got in an area there was fish, I just locked down. Versus in elites, like I can run stuff because of less boats, so you don't have to worry about stuff being available as much. Availability was a tough thing in the opens, and it just still shows how good those guys are. I mean, you find the same fish even in the elites. I mean, a bunch of us found the same fish versus in the opens. It's the same way. It's just that versus 20 guys finding it like they do in the elites, you got 70, and you're fishing on them.
Yeah.
What do you guys think was one of the reasons the rookies did so well in Texas? Like, I think all of the rookies are in the top 41 right now.
I mean, the true answer to that is live scope. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, it's forward-facing sonar stuff.
I'll add to that. This might be a hot take. So I think that the rookies, I mean, you look at all the rookies, like think about what come onto your mind, right? You just think about, all of them individually. I truly believe that every single rookie was working, and I'm not saying that the normal guys weren't, but we were working overtime and had a chip on our shoulders. Like we just came out of this gauntlet. Like we have to show out. Like there was a little bit, I feel like there was a little bit more of a sense of urgency. Not urgency is the wrong word, but we had something to prove. And I think that, obviously we just came out of a gauntlet, right? The season ended way later than the other guys, right? So they get off the water. They already have their sponsorships dealt with for next year for the most part, right? Maybe they go hunt a little bit. They've got everything lined up. For us, it was we never stopped for the most part. It was the opens ended. We had 2 or 3 months. Yeah. So we had to figure out getting sponsors to help pay, right? We had to figure out, if people did some free fishing. I went to Texas. I did a day and a half. I didn't even do Toledo because it was blowing 40, but yeah. I did a day on Toledo, a day and a half on Fork. Really didn't help me much, which is a different story. But, everything was so tight that I think there wasn't really an off season for us. You know what I'm saying? So we kind of just rolled right in. We took all the momentum from, the top 10 in AOI and just moved it right in. And I think there's a lot to be said for that.
I kind of want to add something. So I know this is something we're going to get into, but I'm just going to go ahead and jump into it. So all of us were considered live scopers. So I'm just going to go ahead and just jump off in this because it's just something that I got to go over. But whenever you fish the opens and you come through the process we did and it's available to 225 guys, you have to come semi-predominant on it to find fish that are not being fished for by everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what's happened is when you're in a non-tournament series and you have to, in the opens where you're repetitively fishing against 225 guys versus 3 in the before, you could get by doing other things. But to be consistent, I'm not saying that I didn't catch fish down to make because I love to and I do that, but to be consistent in a non-tournament format in the opens with that amount of anglers, you have to semi become predominantly you have to rely on it to an extent. Like you have to find fish for it. So what I'm saying is if it's available, we're going to practice for it. Like just like if it wasn't available, like that's the thing. Like all us rookies and even some of the guys that are already on there, you have to practice for live scope, and we're more adjusted to doing that because we're not used to available water. if that makes sense.
That-
So
it
we
makes
have
complete-
concepts
dude,
that
it
is
makes-
available.
Yeah, it makes complete. That was a really good way to put it. Like
I mean, the bank is never
100
available.
guys- dude, the best example is this: Toledo. 100 guys on Toledo. If you took live scope away, dude, everyone could have their own cove, an entire cove all to themselves. Every guy on the Elite could have their own cove, pretty much. In the Opens, it's not even remotely. There'd be 3 guys in a cove, which is a lot different,
So,
right?
I think that's made. I mean, obviously we use it a lot, but it's a tool and it's available, so you have to practice for it.
Mhm.
But we become more dependent upon it through the EQs because
I'm going to stop you right there. It's not dependent.
no, but
We have become more more. We have adapted our practices to bring live scope to the table a little more, right? So like, say we find some bank fish. Okay, now we're going to go out and find some scope fish. Whereas I think a lot of guys are like, found some bank fish. Let's try to just go duplicate that bank bite, right? We're like, okay, we can duplicate that bank bite. We need to find some scope fish because if you didn't in the Opens, it was like you weren't going to make it.
you would never have fish. You would be splitting fish with somebody constantly. And the bad thing is you would even be splitting scope fish. So that's why we've all become adapted to use it in 30 foot or 2 foot. I mean, because it's literally such a dogfight to catch a freaking fish in an open that you try to utilize it in every depth range you go to. You try to just find fresh fish. And that when you have to do that repetitively over and over and over, me and Kyle both fished all 9 2 years in a row. And the problem the first year is I wasn't as adaptive with it as I was this past year. And that's the whole difference. I mean, and the people that made it the years before us that just didn't have a whole lot said about it was more adaptive with it than we were the year before in 2021. I mean, that's the whole, or 2022. I mean, that's the whole difference.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, and to piggyback off that last thing, like, so if you looked at my Opens, if you looked at 3 years of me fishing the Opens, now granted, the first year I only fished that one division, right? I did not catch them in that one division. And then the second year, I had a really slow start. I caught first 3 tournaments. I fished the bank, and I luckily caught 2. I caught them in 2 tournaments on the bank at Pickwick, or not at Pickwick, at Cherokee. I caught them on the bank, and I caught them on the bank at the next one. And then slowly, I realized, okay, live scope. I'm getting better at it. I think I need to utilize it, and that's when my sort of the start of when I started to really understand how to fish the Opens, right? And you saw that because I was sitting 3rd or 4th in AOI in all 9. And then at Red River, I used live scope when I shouldn't have. And I finished 178th and it ruined my season, right? So at that point, I had got on this trajectory where live scope, like I was on the bank and then it was okay, live scope. And then when a bank fishing tournament came around, I bombed. So that really was a big lesson for me where, okay, look, you can't always rely on live scope.
I mean, there's a time and place for it. You just have to, I mean, it's not as dominant as what it seemed. We literally were in Texas pre-spawn. There is thousands of pieces of vertical
timber.
I mean, there's vertical objects everywhere. Come on. I mean, what else could you say everywhere in the middle of the lake? I mean, you couldn't ask for a better setup of that. If we wouldn't have been in that situation, it wouldn't have been as dominant.
Yeah.
You know, and it wasn't that you had to do that, but like it got cold, all the females backed out off the bank. I mean, what do you want me to go do? First day, catch 12 pounds down the bank? I ain't doing that.
Yeah, I find it hilarious the people that are still complaining about it when we're watching records almost fall. Like that Trey was a pound off of the all-time record. We're watching just giant after giant go down. Not just everybody throwing a freaking jig head minnow. Like guys are throwing glides, guys throwing wacky rigs, Nikos. Like there's so many different ways
Jigs.
you're catching them. Like,
dude, I caught 111 pounds on a wacky worm.
I cannot say that.
Oh, wacky worm.
I caught my 100-pound fish on a wacky worm. How about that?
Dude, and a jig, but like I caught 32 pounds on day 1 on a wacky worm.
Yeah. Here's one thing I want to call out quick. He's in the comments here, the burning season, and he says, so what he is saying before forward-facing sonar, he couldn't catch him. No. I think what he's saying before forward-facing sonar, with the way the opens are laid out, if you're going to go fish the bank, your chances of catching them consistently are dramatically lower than if you can find fish that no one else is accessing, which you can therefore access with forward-facing sonar.
Like I said, right? Cherokee Lake, Cooper Gallant won that event on live scope. Right? He was throwing a minnow. I fished the bank on a jig and I finished 22nd. Right? Then I forget the next event we went to, but fished that one on the bank. But then the next event, I remember in practice, there were a lot of guys on the bank, and dude, every fish was getting caught in practice. There's 225 guys, 125 of those guys, they stick every fish in practice and post about how great their practice was, right? So they're burning fish.
That's another thing I've noticed, and we didn't even say nothing about that. So like, you have 5 days of practice in an open. Like literally, it changes so much, and you'll get there on day 1 and everybody blasts and you're like, "Oh, this is gonna be fun." But by day 4 of practice, you're like, "I don't know if I can get a bite doing anything."
Yeah. So, but the answer, I don't know who that was, but to answer his question, like, dude, my roots are in shallow water fishing. That's what I love to do. Now, it's different shallow water fishing than Wes likes because I'm not from, the Coosa River and, swimming a jig. I mean, it works in New York, but I've always the shallow.
I throw a spinnerbait down the bank too.
Yeah, the issue is like what Bailey said, is it's the opens. You have to be so incredibly consistent that the shallow bite, you mix it in. We're truly like, this year, dude, I mixed in a lot of shallow and deep throughout the day, each tournament day. I mean, Wheeler Lake, I caught 7 out of my 10 fish I weighed, and I caught a check, was on the bank.
Yeah, so that I had that question in an earlier podcast. I actually had to the guy asked me to tally up every bass I weighed in an open. And he said, "How many did you catch with forward-facing sonar, and how many did you catch down the bank?" And it literally came out to almost equal. It was like 50-50. I mean, I qualified for the elites throwing a frog in a canal at Harrison. I mean,
hell yeah.
So I'm not saying I would rather go down the bank. That's how I grew up, was literally flipping a jig, throwing a spinnerbait, and swimming willow grass and dollar grass and punching mats. I mean, but it's just fishing has changed. So the only way to be competitive if something is getting beat to death constantly is finding fresh fish, and that is a tool that allows you to find fresh fish. And when it comes to making checks, I'm going to do what I have to do to get paid. I mean, that's just what it is.
Bailey, here's another thing that we haven't touched on. Sorry, I'll let you ask the next question. The other thing that we haven't touched on is, but this is what people aren't talking about, and it's that our industry, it's growing, right? Like the fishing industry, bass fishing, tournament bass fishing is growing at such a fast pace. Look at the high school tournaments, okay? Thousands, dude. There's 1,000 boat high school tournaments, literally, right?
Oh, yeah.
In the South, think about Sam Rayburn. How many throughout a year? How many boats in tournaments? Like how many boats are on that lake combined in a tournament throughout the year? It's probably 100,000 plus, right?
Yeah.
And it's only getting bigger. So as that happens, we're not talking about how much these fish are pressured on the bank and in obvious places. Like back in 2001, when there was no live scope, side imaging just got introduced. Everyone was fishing the bank. When side imaging got introduced, you saw, Keith Combs use side imaging to get away from the crowd, right? Offshore, deep cranking, and dominate. And KVD did the same. Mm-hmm. It's the same exact thing. It's just happening in a different in a different time technologically, and it's just different because back then maybe it grew by 50,000 anglers, and now our tournament industry is growing by 200,000 anglers. So there's just more pressure, more fish being caught. Now they're being released, but they're adapting to that constant pressure on these lakes. So you take live scope away, man, the weights in tournaments are gonna be bad.
Yeah, I personally think that we need to be. We're not looking at the right thing right now. I wish I wish we could put the stop button on anybody talking about forward-facing sonar, positive or negative, for say the next year, 2 years. Let biologists actually go and study this thing. I mean, granted, this tech's been out for what, 8 or some odd years now.
Yeah, oh,
They've been
absolutely.
looking into this thing. Like, it's not been a secret. But
Jason
I know there's some
Christie on
pretty
Lake
big...
St. Clair ripping a tube through sandgrass was catching them on scope.
Right. But what I'm saying is, like, biologists are actually really going hard on studies on this right now. Let's give them the time to, like, the people that can actually spit facts, not just people that have opinions. Because right now this is all this is a matter of opinion on people that are for it or against it. I would love to just halt that, and then really the conversation right now should be, look, we all love tournament fishing, but how many tournaments should we actually have? How much should each fishery, like the TVA is looking into that? How many tournaments should be on Lake Chickamauga each week? Like, it's
Agreed.
There should be a harder process to put these things through. Like, it's at the end of the day, this isn't a basketball tournament that you're running out of a facility each week. This is a ecosystem that we're utilizing for sport, and that's something we need to take a better care of. And I think that's what it comes down to, Kyle. I think you make a great point. Like, there's so, like, the high school national championship was what, like almost 500 boats. Like, I want to know how that's a championship at all.
Guys a boat? That's 1,000 anglers.
Yeah, I think that's what we got to be looking at more right now, more than anything, more than a technology. But there was one thing that actually made me laugh the other day of somebody saying, be like, oh, I wish it was the old days when they caught them without technology, and it flashed back to like the early 2000s with Edwin Evers dropping on 2D, and it was just like, yeah, nothing's changed with the angle of our head, the way we're fishing. Like, guys have been fishing off the bank for a long time. Like, that started back with David Fritz. Like, it's, even before him, it was, I don't know. This is becoming regurgitated forward-facing sonar talk, but
that's all I ever hear. Like, I get on social media and that's all I see. It's everywhere you look. And I'm not for or against it. I don't care, dude. Just whatever. Let people that actually need to look into it. But until they make a decision, I'm going to use it. And I think Kyle can say the same. I mean, it's what it is. If they take it away, good. I'm happy with that. Perfectly fine.
Yeah, I'm like very, very like 99% there, to the point where I just want to be like, rename Serious Angler to the No Forward Facing Sonar Talk podcast, so that we just can stop talking about it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah. Well, so with that, let's switch gears, because we're gonna wrap things up here with you guys here in a second. It's been super cool to get you guys on here, and I think we should make this a thing, like the next couple events, and we'll get you boys back on together and see who's getting the best room in the Airbnb type of deal.
Who wants to kill? Who wants to knock the other one out first, right? Like that type of deal.
Yeah, but
you gave me bad intel.
Let me ask you guys this, because Kyle, I don't know if we've asked you this before, Kyle. But if you guys say fishing right now, like fishing across the world was banned, couldn't fish anything whatsoever, what would your guys' plan B career choice be if you could choose? Sales for what?
I could sell ice to an animal, bro.
You're the guy from Wolf of Wall Street that could sell you this pen?
Yes. I just love, truthfully, like, to be honest, like I love, interacting with people, meeting new people. I like, I feel like I can get along. A lot of people don't like me, I'm sure, but I like everyone. Like, I truly have I'm not like super judgmental. Like, I just like interacting with people. So I think that suits well for, it sets up well for, like, a sales position in, I don't know what it would be. I like, sports, skiing, like, being in the outdoors as a whole is something that I've always been passionate about. So I have to be selling something I'm passionate about for like, longevity purposes, because it gets kind of old selling things that you don't care about. But that would be, I would probably go into sales in some outdoor industry. If fishing didn't exist, though, I would quickly be jumping out that window.
Speaking of the window, is that 100 balloon behind you?
Yeah, Caroline put it up for me when I got home.
Nice.
Yeah, she's a nice girlfriend.
You should just time to your truck when you go drive.
Yeah, can you imagine if I rolled up to the third elite event, like still with the 100, then I'll be like, this guy, man.
I just want
Ride
the
it
folks
high.
to know that because Kyle, I will say you've done a really good job of like branding yourself, and there's some people that have been attaching onto that. And I just want people to know this is not Kyle that is on the Elites now doing this for his brand. This is since the moment I met Kyle pre-COVID, he's always been this way.
What, jacked up?
No, you're just like always like ready to go. Like you're like your opens picture. That's how you've always been. Just like jacked up, high on energy,
Dude,
ready
that
to rock.
opens picture will so I'm gonna get at some point
Wes,
here.
have you ever seen his opens picture? It's awful.
No, but I got an even better one. He has accumulated 3 chins now.
3 channel. Elite Series freshman 15 giving on.
No, dude, it's not even that. Like, I'm not like I have not gained weight since like probably freshman year of college. The problem is when I go up on that stage and they're like, hold them up, I'm like all excited. So like I lift my arm.
Look at that. Oh my gosh.
So
Great.
funny.
It's
Yeah.
pretty hilarious. You need to go look at his day one picture from Toledo. It's a good one.
I'll pull it up for you.
Well, Wes, while he's pulling that up, because it's we're gonna let you guys go here in a second. And it's your first time on the show. We always ask everybody when they come on the show, but then we'll also, as we're exiting, we have a question of if you could sit down and have dinner and drinks with 3 different people. They don't have to be fishing. They could be alive 1,000 years ago, alive now. It doesn't matter. What 3 people would you bring to dinner and pick their brain?
Say that again. Pick the dinner and what now?
So, like, what 3 people?
Sorry, he's
Any
from
3
the
people in the
South. He
world?
doesn't understand normal questions.
Any 3 people in the world. They could be
Oh,
sports. Doesn't have to be fishing. 3 people that you would sit down, have steaks and a beer, and pick their brain.
That's pretty tough right there. I don't know. Probably, I'm just gonna go with 3 fishermen, just because.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's just easier. You didn't caught me off guard outside the fishing industry, but probably Rick Klun, Jason Christie, and Gerald Swindle.
Those are
That's
good
quite
ones.
a crew.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just so everyone knows.
I had to put 3 chins on my classic squad.
Oh, that's real good.
Oh my gosh, yeah, wasn't that the one you posted talking about your chins too?
Probably. Look at that, dude. There's like 80 chins. It's not even 3.
That is that's the I gotta weigh in these fish, but I also really gotta go take a shit face.
Yeah, literally.
You ever see like Master of Disguise? Kyle is like, am I not turtly enough for the turtle club? Like,
Yeah.
trying to tuck in the shirt there.
He just gets a little excited, you know. He likes to hold them higher and higher and higher and just squeeze them up in his.
It's awesome.
You guys
Hey,
start
it's
doing
good
like
that you own
neck
it, though.
exercises, right? So you
Yeah.
can get rid of the triple.
Yeah,
chin
they
and
have
just
like the
no
thing,
neck.
the ball that you can put in your mouth, like
Oh, the chin, like yeah.
yeah, to make sure your like skin's tucked. Or maybe I'll just get like one of those surgeries that like has my whole face like, you know what I mean?
You're gonna be the first guy with a plastic surgeon rat boat.
Can you imagine like
Botox.
Dr.
Sponsored by Botox.
Yeah.
You're just gonna get the steel plate in your neck, so it's easier for scoping.
Yeah, no, that we're gonna need steel. You know, in 10 years, I'll be like, "Hey, Wesley, did you find him today, buddy?" Like,
Wait, dude, what? I was gonna blow that up there.
yeah, like you know, you're walking past and you're like, "You catch him?" Yeah.
Never change, Kyle. Never change.
Oh, God, it's funny.
That's awesome. Well, boys, before we get you guys off here, is there anything else you guys want to bring up the folks need to know or anything like that before we get on to the classic?
I'm just gonna work it. You need to ask Kyle about the classic. I didn't make it this year.
Yeah, I think we're good, dude. I'm hoping everyone who's watching comes to the classic. And by the way, Bassmaster's having that, dude. So cool that Bassmaster's having the tailgate with Mark Zona and Ronnie Moore. Like, you know how everyone did you see that, Bailey?
There's a tailgate?
Oh, dude. Yeah. Go look at Bassmaster. So they set up, there's a tailgate and they're going to have it like, you know how before football games, like Tony is up there.
Like college game day.
Yeah, and everyone's behind them. They're having that. So they're going to be like live commentating. And there's like a tailgate with like beer. It's going to be super cool, man.
Outside?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's going to be cool. Is that going to be like on site at the launch or something?
Yeah. No, I think it might be in Tulsa. So
I'm going to get a giant billboard like they do on college game day of your Opens picture. And I'm just going to have it in the background.
Don't
Split
it.
Opens
Open
and triple
picture
chin. You know what?
and triple
Hey.
chin and put then and now.
if I make the top 10, you have to do that.
I'll do it. I'll definitely do it.
Or one of the big heads with just his eyes from the Opens
Well,
picture.
Yeah.
we'll never know if you make the top 10. If you make the third day, top 25.
Oh, okay. True. I forgot.
That's an Instagram post right there. It's like there's the Hackney stink eye, but then there's the Calpatrick eye.
Yeah. Oh,
There's
man.
into your soul.
Dude, I don't know. Yeah. The first ever top 10 I made was wild, if you saw that one. I won't pull it up, but it was crazy. I was like,
pull it up.
I said, okay.
You
Everyone
can
needs
send
to
it.
see
We'll
crazy,
share it
crazy
on
eye Kyle.
Is it Chesapeake Bay, Kyle?
Yeah.
Oh.
Chesapeake Bay. It was insane. Like they hit me with the flash at just the perfect time.
It's always the flash. Always.
Oh,
I just looked crazy, dude. Wait.
Oh yeah. Wait here, hold on. Let me blow this up. Yep.
I was like
golden.
crazy.
I can't
I'm not
believe I
nervous.
did
You're
this.
nervous.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's funny.
Well, boys, appreciate you guys taking the time out. And
Thank
obviously, Kyle, good luck at the Classic coming up here. If we don't talk to you, I'll probably see you media day.
Yeah.
But Wes, hopefully I'll run into you at the Classic Expo, get to introduce myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And man, I'm serious. I think another couple events, and we'll make this a regular thing. Get you boys on here.
Yeah, bring it on. We'll get to talk about all kinds of good stuff. We'll have more to talk about, I'm sure, by then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for damn sure. All right, well, boys, appreciate it, and we'll talk to you guys real soon.
Yeah, thank you.
Boys.
Peace. All right, there we have it with Cal Patrick and Wesley Gore. That would definitely be an entertaining house to be in. Be in on the road, dude.
Can we just talk about how you just had to lead them with questions and they took up Kyle took up most of the show? So
Hey, that's why he's
the
a
way it
pro,
goes.
man.
Yeah.
That's why he's a pro. He's like Tuma, man. It's his show. We're just here. We just provide the platform. They're the hosts. We don't run the show, guys. This is every guest. It's their show, not ours.
I like it.
Yeah. Well, thanks again to those boys for taking the time to jump on. It's definitely a cool dynamic, and it's pretty impeccable seeing what the rookies are doing thus far this season. But it'll also be interesting to see how they do when we leave the state of Texas. So we'll be keeping up with that, obviously. But now we're going to be starting our part 2 of the show. We got Mr. Andrew Hayes from Tackle Talk and Trevor Lowe from Omnia coming on here in a second. We'll bring them on here, but a quick message from X2 Power.
In the world of battery power, a word to the wise: compromise elsewhere.
Oh, Bailey, your mic stopped working.
Yep, that's what happens when you put it on mute and you forget to take yourself off mute. But we are back. We're joined by these bright and shining faces down here in the bottom left. We got your boy Andrew Hayes from Tackle Talk. Yep. We're rocking the Tackle Talk flag for tonight, and we got Mr. Trevor Lowe from Omnia. Trevor, is it not too good in the Lowe household right now?
Yeah, I was wondering if you guys could hear that. We're putting my daughter down right now, and she's not having it. So
She's fighting.
yeah, I was texting my wife. I was like, "Yo, we can hear her on the podcast."
Yo.
Get her
Get on
back.
I want to be on the podcast. Come on.
Right.
Oh, man.
Well, boys, thanks you guys for taking time out of your night to come join us here. We got a little game of fish it, box it, and trash it. That's gonna be fun. But real quick, let's catch up with you boys. Trevor, what you got going on in your neck of the woods?
Man, not a whole lot. It's warming up here. Lakes are thawing out. People have got fishing on the mind, but Minnesota DNR doesn't let us fish until May, at least in inland waters. So we're patiently waiting, and some of us are taking our boats across the border to go and catch fish in other states. But that's about it.
There's no like fishing mafia yet in Minnesota where you just pay off the DNR to let you guys go.
You know, I wish
you only track like so many lakes, right? You guys have thousands, so I'm sure
we do. We
somewhere.
have something like 12,000 and change. So I'm sure you could find a small little puddle in the middle of nowhere, but I don't know if you want to take those chances.
Is it hefty, like a fine or whatever, if you get caught?
I'd imagine it is. You know, here they say they can even confiscate, you know, boat, trailer, truck, anything that helped you commit the crime. So,
dang, yeah, never mind.
Yeah, that's could be a big price to pay for scratching the itch. So
yeah, well, you can go fish like the Mississippi and stuff, can't you?
Yeah, you can. And this year is actually not too bad because we didn't get too much snow, so not a ton of flooding, not a lot of snow melting off, and bringing big deadheads and big trees down the river. So, but water is going to be a little bit low this year. So, who knows? I haven't fished the river in years, but I'd imagine there's still fish to be caught in them.
Yeah. Well, not to keep carrying on the Minnesota talk, but I saw recently Cade Laufenberg caught one almost 9 pounds apparently.
Yeah,
it sounds like they're awake over there in the Midwest and they're eating.
Yeah, he's a little river rat. He knows that section of the river pretty good. So whether that's the river or if he was on the Wisconsin side, I'm not sure, but I definitely did see that fish too. It was a big one.
Pretty rowdy. Probably gonna be a nice tease for you guys getting ready to go fishing. Well, on the flip side, back in glorious Ohio, the mecca of bass fishing,
the land of all the 9-pounders are here. What are you talking about?
And you guys have that giant smallmouth, though, right? Oh no, it was caught in Canada, technically.
No, you're screwed in Ohio, Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm in the bad part of Ohio. I'm not like Lake Erie. Lake Erie is a whole different. That might as well be 3 states away. I'm down here in like, redneck farm puddle, polluted river land. It's awful.
The things obviously I love your content, Andrew, but the things that make me laugh the most are your Dayton, Ohio stories of just the random weird stuff that you see while going to fish the river.
Oh yeah, adult toys on the river, like every dead animal, and they found a body last week. Like there's a body every seems like month they find in the river, and
that's just
it's not
your
tweakers and hobos that are along the entire thing. They're yelling Lord knows what at you the entire time. Like, yeah, it's an interesting escapade. I had a tweaker come up to me about maybe 3 weeks ago. I was putting my kayak in the water at like 4 or 5 in the morning, real early. And this dude just comes at me, pitch black, screaming. And it was probably the first time that I ever reached for my pew and was like, this is when it's happening. Like, I'm going to have to pull it out this time. And then the guy got up and he was harmless, but he was screaming. Like he had no idea what planet he was on. And I was just like, easy, bud. It's 4 or 5 in the morning. It's pitch black. Don't run up on people like that.
How dare you go fishing without me?
Yeah. And then the same guy, like 2 hours later, he's over there screaming, as I was like, all right, man, see you later. And I go on the river, and then he comes back like an hour later and has like a 5-gallon bucket and like a cane pole, and he's trying to like dangle it into the river, and he's just talking to himself. He's like, man, just missed one. He's over there. He's like in like 2 inches of water, just has no idea. Again, what planet he's on. That's what we do.
Straight up ugly stick commercial going on.
Yeah.
I love it. Before we get into the game here, boys, one thing I forgot to mention earlier on the show, the Indiana smallmouth state record was broken this past year, the 8.27.
Jeez.
That's pretty
damn big. It was a tank too.
Indiana.
Yeah.
Was that fish caught on like an inland lake, or was it was Indiana touches Michigan, right? Like Lake Michigan and Erie.
I don't know where he caught
it. Lakes. Indiana definitely touches Erie and might touch Michigan too.
Was it near Toledo? If I'm getting that right,
I can find where he caught it at. Pending record, Rex Remington, Monroe Reservoir, wherever that's at. So let's look up Monroe Reservoir.
Wait, that sounds really familiar, actually. If it's up near the Michigan border, I've definitely fished it.
Yeah, don't mind me. It only touches Lake Michigan.
It is no, it's south of Indianapolis.
Okay.
It's near like Bloomington.
I think there's like a Pleasant Lake, I think it's called, northern Indiana, that I've fished before. But yeah, Indiana's not your, like, even though you got your Jacob Wheeler and folks that are from that neck of woods, it's not a mecca for fishing.
No, like there's some okay lakes around
Better than
Indy.
Ohio.
That's a pretty big lake, not
Yeah.
gonna lie.
Yeah, it's one of the
What is
bigger
that?
ones. It looks like in South Central.
Yeah.
What's the state record, if you know offhand, Andrew?
For us or for
Yeah.
Indiana?
you guys?
Ours is like 13 pounds, I think, 12 or
For a large
13
one?
pounds. Yeah, but it's one of those ones that was caught in like 1971 and there's no pictures of it. And it's like, it's one of those things.
Yeah.
Or if there is a picture, I don't believe it, but it's like an
Oh.
old, 60, 70-year-old record. No one's got even close since then. Some farm pond pet that somebody probably kept
for
and
the
grew.
cantaloupe. Yeah.
Well, I know Mosquito Lake on the east side of Ohio does put out some big fish from time to time. So
Yeah, we have some decent lakes that'll put out like eight and a half.
Portage chain.
Yeah, from time to time. Up there is great. Like if you go to the northeastern side of Ohio, there's Pymatuning, there's Mogador, there's Pleasant Hill, I think is up there. There's like 5 or 6 different big lakes up there that hold good largemouth. Yeah.
Trevor, is the state record Minnesota bass? Is that over 10?
Nah, we've got a baby compared to the rest of the world. Our state record's 8:15. So if you touch 9, that's a
Okay,
state
so then
record.
Cade definitely caught it in Wisconsin then, because it would have been a state record then technically.
Yeah, I don't know how that border water works. Yeah, I would imagine so. If he said it was a 9, then yeah, that would have been a state record in Minnesota. So
Well, yeah, and technically though, if it's out of season, you can't have
Yeah.
tournaments,
Yeah.
right? You can't even weigh it in. So it could have been a state record caught in Minnesota, but you can't do anything with it because it's.
Can you imagine that? Like you're fishing illegally and you catch the state record, but you can't do anything about it. 'cause
right.
you're
I mean, you hear stories about it all the time. There are guys that are, they go out and crappie fish with a chatterbait and they're pulling in 6.5, 7 pounders, 7.5 pounders, and I'm sure somebody has pulled some big pre-spawn one up here. But yeah, to your point, you can't even get credit for it.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
ours
caught,
is 13.13 from 1976. Roy Landsberger from a small pond in Northeast Ohio.
Shout out, Roy.
Shout out, Roy.
Are you guys allowed to have private water fish be qualified for state records? I know some states are like that where private water counts.
We can, yeah.
You can? Okay.
Yeah,
makes
I'm
sense
not
then.
sure about here.
Yeah. It's all farm ponds is where like every record of ours has ever come from. Except for the smallmouth was caught on Erie by, was it Kevin Van Dam's, I don't know if it was his brother or I think it was his brother. Someone related to Kevin caught the Ohio record smallmouth on Erie.
I don't know how all that border stuff works, like on the lake itself.
Right.
It's got to be so confusing.
Mhm.
Because like what that 10 was technically Canada, right, Andy?
Yeah, it was caught on the Canadian side. I don't know exactly where, but I'm assuming it's probably near Pelee Island area.
You talking Grant's dad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I can't imagine the look in their face when they saw that thing come up.
I think it was like 2005 or 2006. There was a Canadian tournament up here out of Buffalo that was held in Canada. And the guy caught one that was almost 10, I believe, in the tournament on the New York side. But because it was a Canadian tournament, they weighed it in over there. It would have blown the smallmouth state record away. That was caught in New York waters, but weighed in a Canadian tournament. Yeah.
It's big fish.
All right.
Nuts.
Yeah, I feel like we could talk about this for ages. But the premise of tonight is the fish it, box it, and trash it. So just to kind of go over with you guys, but also people that are tuning in, is we're going to give you 3 different items. And you can fish one, meaning that's like you're going to be your top choice. You can box it, meaning we want it, we're going to keep it for later. Then trash it is the one you have to get rid of. So that really is what it comes down to. It's really
they're
more
not all
fun.
fishing related, right? Like
No, they're not all fishing related. There's definitely some fishing ones in here, but then there's some non-fishing ones too. So we're have some fun with it. The fun part is definitely which one you're gonna trash out of the 3. But we'll start out fishing wise. Keep it straightforward. So the first one, you guys have any questions before we start rolling with this?
Nope.
All right.
Let's roll.
All right. So the first one, you have the fire red jackhammer, a red lipless, or a red flat-sided crankbait. Which one are you going to fish, box, or trash? We'll start with you, Andrew.
Oh man, I guess I'm trashing the flat-sided crank.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of the three, I'd say I don't know. I probably box the jackhammer and is it fish is the other one, right? Yeah. I'll probably fish the lipless. Yeah.
Okay.
Just like a red eye shad, man. That was growing up. That was what we just wrecked fish on was, little lipless crankbaits and stuff like that. Now, yeah, I would say there's definitely a time and place for the flat-sided crankbait, but it's not something I'm going to use all year long. So that's like a very specialized time and place for me. But yeah, that's a tough one. I would say box the jackhammer, fish the lipless, trash the flat side.
All right. Trevor, what do you got?
I'm going to go a completely different route. I would say fish the jackhammer, box the flat-sided crankbait, and then trash the lipless. Now, the reason being, I don't throw a lipless all that much, but you can fish a lipless around riprap. You can fish it around grass, and I think you can do the same thing with a chatterbait. And with a chatterbait, I like the big stout hook. I don't have to worry about trebles. I don't have to, throw a moderate action rod or anything like that. I can really just jack them. Flat-sided crankbait is going to be that cold water deal. In case it does get cold, I mean, you can catch them on a chatterbait too. But if you want something a little more subtle, then I think that's where that flat-sided crankbait comes in play.
I love that you say that. This is why we're friends, Trevor. Even though it hurts Andrew's heart.
I know. Oh, I just feel like a lipless is so versatile. Like I can go almost any depth with it. I feel like my big issue with chatterbaits obviously is like, yeah, unless you want to throw some absolute giant 3/4 ounce chatterbait or something, like you're pretty limited in terms of the depth that you can fish that at, where, a lipless, I'm a little bit more free to do what I want with it. But yeah, I mean, if you ask most of the people around here, they're probably going to say fish the jackhammer. It's gonna be the same thing that everybody else says too, because it's just I don't know, man. It's one of those things that doesn't seem like it's fallen off yet. Like I figured if you'd asked me 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, like you'd think that it would start to get a little less deadly. Like we saw that with ploppers around here. We saw that with all kinds of things that are really distinct, where those fish start to get conditioned to something, but there's just something about a jackhammer that it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, the guy that won that Bassmaster kayak event at Murray, he won that by yo-yoing a 3/4 ounce jackhammer.
That's insane.
No live scope, no nothing. That was super cool. He was when he was up on podium talking to, he's like, you don't need a motor, you don't need live scope, and you can win one of these things. I'm like, hell yeah, brother, in the back.
How deep was he fishing, do you know?
As I scoped the whole event myself, but like
you do you.
Do you know how deep he was ripping it?
He was what?
Do you know how deep he was ripping it?
I want to say he was in the like 8 to 12-ish. He actually put out, I'll send you a link after that. He put out a whole video on his channel. It was pretty sick. Like I'm sitting there, I'm like, damn, he found a whole bite.
Cool
nobody
bite.
else found it. Yeah.
He's doing something nobody else does.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was doing the same thing like with the that tactical DD crank. He was like, he would burn it and then pause it for like 5 seconds. And then rip it again. He was catching big ones doing it. He wasn't catching a lot, but he was catching big ones. I'm like, damn, I just suck. All right, Andy, you're up.
All right. I am going to trash the red jackhammer. It's just up here where we're at. Everybody seems to throw it. And
Hold on, guys. I got this. All right, now we're good.
Yeah. Right.
No, don't get me wrong. I love throwing chatterbaits and jackhammers. I just don't like red ones. So I'm going to trash the red one. And I'm going to fish the flat side crankbait. I think a Fritz side is absolutely deadly. And then I'm going to box a lipless because it's versatile. You can throw it all year. And if you're throwing a trap, in my opinion, it ought to be red. So, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
To be honest, I've lost like all faith in a red trap for whatever reason. I like only throw like if I do, it's like a greenback or like a sexy shad, something like that. Actually, my favorite color of Strike King Red Eye Shad is that chartreuse perch. That is one of my favorite
good one.
ones.
Yeah.
See, I like the Rayburn Red, the 2-tap one, because it's not like that screaming bright red. It's kind of more dulled down. So I think that's why it works well. Everyone's throwing blazing red traps. I'm like, all right, I'm going to hit you with the one knocker and a little bit of a more matte finish. And I think that's part of the reason why it gets bit a little bit better. But it's very situational.
Yeah, one of the colors that comes to mind when talking throwing a trap is down in Florida. They're throwing that golden shiner color.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it's you don't hear too much like sexy shad traps. It's always fire reds, fire tigers, that sort of stuff. But yeah,
Unless you're Bailey, you like shed colors.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. I just can't get behind the red that much. I used to, but then I was like, I would have one rod with a red trap and one rod with like a perch or a shad. And I was just catching bigger ones in the shed. And ever since then, I'm like, yeah, screw that red crap. I'm just going to keep
That's why
shad.
fishing is all confidence and we all have different answers, right?
Works.
Like, it's awesome.
Yeah. And what I'll do when we go back here, because we're talking about a whole bunch of other baits, I'll link all these to Omni as well when we go back through after the show. So we'll have that down for you guys to be able to take advantage of. But all right, here's the next one for you. We'll keep going around the horn with Andrew, Trevor, then Andy. So you have your breakfast sandwiches on the way to the ramp, your boat snacks during the day, or the cold beer to end the day.
Okay. I'm going to fish the boat snacks for sure. Like, you're not making it through the whole day if you got nothing. I'm that guy that I'll go out in the summer and I'm like the guy that forgets to even pack like a water. And then you're, out there for the first 7 hours and you're looking around. You're like, I'm about to drink the river water. Like, I can't. Why did I do this? Why did I do this? I do this every time, right? You'd think I'd know by now that you have to bring like at least a drink and some snacks or something. So you got to have that. I would say you box the breakfast sandwich on the way. I'm very guilty of that. I'll stop at the Speedway or whatever and just be a complete gross human being at whatever I consume before I leave to go fishing. And then I'm gonna trash the
cold beer at the end of the day.
I'm probably gonna let that go. Like, if you'd asked me 5-6 years ago, that probably would have been the first one, but I don't know. Nowadays it's like I don't do a whole lot of that so much anymore. I got it way out of my system when I was younger, and now it's like the if you would have said the blue Powerade Zero on the way home, the beer I can probably take without.
I think I'm biased in this 4-box right here because I'm the only one that's not a dad. So I think
that's also a thing. Yeah,
that is also a thing.
Just wait.
It's funny, like the beers don't come out until the kids go to bed now because I don't even drinking.
And by the time the kids go to bed, you're done. You're like, I don't even want to do this.
I'm gonna veg and just lay on the couch. You're like, I've been guilty to drink like half a beer and wake up like, oh crap! Like she's gonna ask, what is this?
It's funny.
What about you, Trevor?
Man, I'm probably going to be just a little bit different. I'd say I'm going to fish the breakfast sandwich in the morning. That's kind of my go-to, especially when I'm driving up to like Mille Lacs, stop, hit the gas station, grab some gas, grab some snacks for the boat as well. So that's probably going to go in the box for the boat snacks. And then, man, I don't know what it is. Years ago, I used to love drinking IPAs, and I still love IPAs. But man, I tell you what, I'll have one IPA and I'll just have a massive headache. And I just don't know if I don't have the tolerance for it anymore. But
you're getting old.
Yeah, and so I could probably go without the beer. To Andrew's point, just give me something like a Gatorade or a Powerade or something like that, and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
But I could probably do without the beer.
Yeah, I think your body's just telling you, hey, a case of IPAs is now half a tank of gas. So you can fare a little better than some IPAs. What about you, Andy?
I'm the same. I'm gonna fish the breakfast sandwich. I just love breakfast, so that is a must. I'm going to box the snacks because usually I leave them in the truck when I buy them, so they don't even make it to the boat. And then the beer, usually when I get home. I like if you said coffee after fishing all day, probably would have went coffee over beer, but the beer I'll just fall asleep if I drink one after fishing because I'm already exhausted from leaving all of my calorie intake in the truck throughout the day. So
The weirdest thing is linking up with Andy to go fishing in the morning, and it's like I might have a Yeti, or if anything, it's like an energy drink for going fishing. And he's got like this bougie freaking like mug of his fancy coffee in the morning as he's like pinkies out driving with his coffee to the ramp. It's the most weird dynamic.
I can't drink coffee before I go fishing. That's not
I have
good.
to.
That's not a good thing.
Because otherwise
No.
it's going to come at like 8 o'clock, so I need to get it out. Like
Coffee
I'm
is
trapped in waiters, man. I can't be doing that.
man.
Coffee's a natural
All down to
diuretic, man.
go.
You got to watch
Yeah.
out.
Whew.
Oh, I can drink like 7 cups of coffee a day. We're good.
Yeah.
Nope.
I'm a big coffee guy, but like to Andrew's point, like if I'm going fishing or like I'm going scouting and like hunting that day, like it's energy drinks for me. It's
Dangerous game.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny you Bailey, you're mentioning about Andy's got that little pinky out. If you've ever taken, you know, your significant other, your wife, your spouse, whatever, to a Starbucks or a Caribou, when they walk in, when you watch all the women walk into the coffee shop, they're like on a mission. And then when they come out, it's like double guns, got my coffee, strutting. You know what I'm talking about? And it's like you look at guys, and guys will hold a coffee cup like this, right? But the girls, they got to show it and they got to strut it. Yep.
It's all the single ladies. They're just showing their name
That's
off.
right.
To everybody that's
That's
Your
right.
hero shot.
Yeah,
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So true. It's terrible.
That's
so
amazing.
true.
All right. Here's another one for you.
Oh man.
So we got oatmeal cream pie, the zebra cake, and then the Christmas tree brownie. This is a little non-sponsored segment from Lil Debbie.
I see you tagging
Okay.
on Instagram.
Hey, Lil Debbie followed us back on social, so
That's
there
awesome.
you go. Thanks whoever works at Lil Debbie that listens to this or has the plug. Appreciate the follow back. One of these
Can you
days.
imagine just like a little Debbie wrapped boat?
That'd be incredible.
Dude,
You
that's
make
what we were-
all your competitors hungry. At
Oh
that
man,
point.
it's just
We
the
had-
zebra cake like
Yeah.
stripe down it.
Andy, we were talking about this with we had Jake Maddox and Julius Mazie on. And we were talking about that. We're like, could you imagine a Little Debbie title sponsor boat wrap?
That would be amazing.
It has to be one of the best ones. Like if you had that,
zebra cake front half, cosmic brownie back half, like, or a giant Nutter Butter, like
Nutter Butters. Oh, yeah.
just so
See, the
many
thing-
good
yeah.
ones.
yeah. Well, what do you got, Andrew? Before we go down that rabbit hole,
I'm gonna trash the oatmeal cream pie
we can't be friends anymore.
just because of the 3 that are on here. Like I'm not saying I've never turned down an oatmeal cream pie in my life, but of the 3, it's getting trashed. I would say I'm probably boxing the zebra cake and then I'm fishing the Christmas tree.
Dang, big on the Christmas trees, eh?
Oh, dude, the Christmas tree. You're talking about the one that's like the cake in the middle and it's got like the little yeah, it's like almost a zebra cake except it just tastes better because it's in the shape of a Christmas tree.
Well, there's that one, and there is the actual brownie one too.
Oh, I'm talking the one that's like it's kind of like you're talking a brownie. That
Well,
changes
we can go
everything if
either.
it's the
They're
brownie.
interchangeable at this
No,
point.
if this is the brownie, I'm changing it. Then I'm fishing the zebra cake. It's like the cosmic brownie. It's just shaped like a tree.
Yeah.
Okay, well then it's getting trashed, and then
Trashing
I'll
that one?
box the oatmeal cream pie. It's back from the dead.
I forget that they had the Christmas tree zebra cake version too.
Those
Oh,
are
that was so many.
Dynamite.
yeah,
So
those are
good.
chef's kiss. Just because they're literally just a zebra cake, except they're shaped different and they taste 10 times better.
Oh yeah. It's like when you get the Reese's, right? The peanut butter Easter eggs.
Yes.
Christmas trees. They taste way
Yeah.
different than the cup itself. And you're like nostalgia. Like,
Dude,
I don't know why it
Oh.
tastes different, but it's so good.
Who was it? I think it might have been Schlopper. Did like he was just in his truck one day and he was coming out of like Farm and Fleet and he just turned on his iPhone and was like, all right, in his, you know how he's got his little accent. He's like, oh, today we're gonna do something we haven't done in a while today. I picked up some Christmas tree cakes here. We're gonna do a little review. And he just starts pounding a Christmas tree cake. And he's like, Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, just in the truck eating Christmas tree cakes.
Schlapper's got to be the one guy, man. I wish he would just let loose and just let his whole
It
personality
was funny.
shine. I feel like he's bottled up. He's probably one of the most funniest guys on tour.
I'll have to send it to you after this. It was hilarious.
Like I think it was Toledo. He's like, well, I don't know what the hell I'm doing out here, but we're doing it, boys.
We're doing it.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I think it was the Kelsey brothers on their New Heights show. They were talking about exactly that. Like Jason was saying, he's like, yeah, he goes, the Christmas tree shape Reese's cups are way better than the normal cup. And Travis was like, dude, it's the same thing. He goes, no, shape's different. It's way better.
Shapes matter.
Tastes
That
great,
the Easter egg one, yeah, like they're all better. Pumpkins, they do the pumpkin ones around
pumpkin,
Halloween.
those are
Yeah,
legit too.
the only thing that's crazy now is those little ones. You go like a little checkout counter or whatever, they're like $1.30 or something for this little like one bite thing.
I was just having this conversation with the wife because my daughter loves like quarters and stuff. Whenever she does like picks up things around the house, we give her a quarter as like good faith, like great job, here's your allowance. But I looked at Amanda, I think it was tonight actually, and I was like, hey, do you remember when you used to be able to walk down to like the grocery store or like the convenience store and buy like little pieces of candy and you could get like 20 of them for 25 cents? And she was like, oh yeah, I remember that. I was like, yeah, this girl can't even buy a pack of gum. Like,
Tough times.
yeah.
I can't say I've seen that in such a long time. Like the ability to go and get candy out of those things.
At our like
twist them
Kroger
and-
growing up, we used to take 50 cents and you could get Kroger version of whatever pop you wanted. They had like a vending machine with their big K stuff in it. So you could get a pop for 25 cents and then you could go in and you could get like whatever it was, Andy, like, 10, 15, 20 pieces of candy. And you get to pick out the individual candies. It makes it sound like I'm from like the 1910s, but this is really what it was. And you go with 50 cents and it was just like the coolest thing ever.
We used to have a convenience store down the street from the house I grew up at, one of the houses I grew up at, and you could go and they just had bulk candy in buckets, and it'd be like all labeled different like amounts. Some would be a penny, some were like 5 cents, some were 10 cents. You could walk in there with 25 cents or 50 cents and literally like walk out with a pack of like the fake cigarette candies.
Oh yeah.
And like big chew and like just have a time looking all cool walking down the street fake
beef
fake
jerky
cigarette.
in the can, walking around, total degenerate kids with fake cigarettes, fake dip, and
jerky chew, man.
How times have
Good
changed.
times.
You guys, were you guys ever fans of Laffy Taffy?
Oh, love it.
Laffy Taffy used to have those long, tall
Yeah.
ones you get for like 25 cents a pop. You
Oh, yeah.
walk in with $1 and come out with 4 of them that are about a foot long each.
Yeah.
That was legit.
Oh yeah.
What was
Kids
it?
will never know.
Was the runts? Is that what the thing? The candy?
Oh,
was?
the ones that were shaped like fruits.
Yeah, they would be
Yeah.
like in the machine that you'd have to put quarters
Oh,
in and
yeah.
then twist them out, and it was all like just candy stacked together and going down this metal that every other person did.
Yeah.
I credit
That was
that
back before germs.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's why
Oh,
my
there's still
immune
places
system
with
is
them, but they're-
amazing. Is from
Yeah.
doing that all the time.
Probably some of that candy in there too is like 4 years old at times. Like
Oh, yeah.
depending on where you went.
Comes out all
Sounds good.
crushed and gross. Yeah.
Well, because it'd be like outside too. So like in the summer, that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh
Just
yeah.
baking.
Baking the glass bowl.
Right next to the machine that you could get like for 50 cents the picture or the sticker of SpongeBob as a gangster.
Yeah.
Remember those?
Oh, yeah.
For some reason, there's Thug Life, Squidward, and SpongeBob over here at the vending machine.
That's awesome. Those are the ones you had to like
Because, we
push
were doing-
in and not.
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
twist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
You got to
yeah.
line up your quarters.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That's
I think what the kids nowadays missed out on are Pop Rocks. You guys remember Pop
Oh,
Rocks?
Pop Rocks
Yeah.
are great.
Drop them in and you'd sit around like just
Yeah.
just letting them pop in your mouth for minutes at a time.
You put Sprite in your mouth and swish it all together, and it would just like explode.
Yeah. You have Pop Rocks and then the ones that you can throw at people's feet. The ones that you can buy right
Oh.
next to the Pop Rock.
Oh, yeah.
Little TNT things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The snappers.
See, this is when people say on social media, they're like, "Why are men so easily amused?" This is why.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
We used to
Gurgling
take,
Pop Rocks and throwing snappers.
What was the medicine? Alka-Seltzer? Is that the
Oh,
one that was
yeah,
a little tab?
Alka-Seltzer.
We used
Oh,
to
yeah.
we used to play a game where we would put an Alka-Seltzer in our mouth and you would drink Sprite and you would swish it and you could see who could keep their mouth closed the longest before it exploded.
God.
Now you just do it Mentos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mentos and Diet Coke.
Yeah.
There you go.
God.
Good lord. All right, back to the topic at hand.
Back to Little
Cosmic
Debbie.
brownies.
Yeah.
and-
Yeah, little Debbie.
Yeah, we got on the
Gotta get the
rabbit
plug
hole
in.
All right. For
You're up,
me,
Tim.
I think I grew up on oatmeal cream pies. I'm gonna have to fish that one. I think the reasoning behind that is it's a little more solid. It's gonna sit in your stomach and keep you full longer. So while you're fishing through the day, then you box the zebra cake, because whether or not you have a good day of fishing or a bad day of fishing, you got a zebra cake to look forward to. And then we'll probably trash the Christmas tree.
Trash the Christmas tree. This guy says he gave his dog Pop Rocks once. He was confused. But he's a lab, so he eat anything. That's funny.
Poor dog.
Yeah, I'm directly in line with you on that, Trevor. 100%. Andy, what do you got?
I'm gonna fish the zebra cakes because zebra cakes are amazing. I'm gonna box the cream pie and I'm gonna throw the brownie. Toss it out. Yeah, I'm tossing the brownie.
Same. All right. So next one we got is JDM tackle, club bass jerseys, and fishing from the bank. Andrew can't even keep it together.
I don't know if you could
There's
pick
nothing
three
like
more
you're
opposite things.
They're not even close.
This is what happens when you get Andy on this topic.
I don't think anybody that's ever worn a club jersey ever throws JDM.
That's right. You don't like your guy at the Tuesday nighter with the $15 Bass Pro Shops jersey that you got in the mail?
That says Strike King, Lose, Abu Garcia,
Yeah.
Jackal.
Yum.
No, my favorite are the ones that would say, like, because they don't understand how it works, it would say Abu Garcia and Strike King. It's like, no, you would probably either be Abu Garcia and Berkeley or Strike King and Lose.
Well, then you get guys with 3 of the same brands on there.
Well, yeah, that too. Okay, what are they? The JDM club bass jerseys, fishing from the bank. I have to fish from the bank because I fish from the bank. So that's us. Literally. It's so I have to keep that one. I would box JDM and I have to trash club bass jerseys.
I think this is gonna be the popular answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called the Andy wildcard when you ask him to submit to these.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead.
I was trying to think. I was like, I know Hayes is a bank fisherman, so how can I make him talk about this? And I was like, I'm gonna put 3 really random things together, and this will work.
Just wait for the next one.
Oh God.
I'm gonna fish the JDM. I'm gonna box the jersey and never take it out of the box, and then I'll trash bank fishing.
Lock the box.
Lock the box and throw away the key.
Oh man, that's good.
That's incredible. All right, Andy.
All right, I'm gonna fish the JDM baits. I'm gonna box the shore fishing because I do enjoy that from time to time, as I do it all winter long. And then I'm gonna trash my club jerseys.
Your club jerseys? Do you have any?
Oh, I got some.
Yeah.
Andy was the Woo Tungsten and
Yes.
No, I actually do not have a Woo Tungsten jersey, to be honest.
what was
But did you have a code though?
Oh yeah, everyone has a code.
Awesome.
Yeah. And full Woo 20. What was it?
Oh, probably something like that.
Andy was like he had all the stones. He was Thanos with the 6 gill Woo Tungsten.
Oh, yeah.
Like he was all of it.
Oh yeah. Hey, 6 gill story was a friend that was in their PR department that I fly fished with, and he's like, "Hey, can you try these out?" Like, and then they blew up to be Woo Tungsten. So I was like, "Yep, I'm out."
Yeah.
And yeah,
Awesome.
good times.
All right. Here's the
It's
next
good
one.
times.
Good times.
Young.
What are you doing, Bailey?
For what?
That
Oh, for
question.
those?
He's totally wearing his club jersey while he fishes.
Yeah.
I'll call myself out. I definitely did that a Tuesday nighter when I was like 17 in high school and was given a jersey.
Okay, but if you're 17, I'll give you a pass. Once you start being able to vote, you can't do it anymore.
Well, it lasted a good like 2 minutes, and I pulled up the ramp, and one of the guys that I fish with locally, he's like, "Hey, nice jersey," and like he was asking me about it. And I just took it off. It's like, okay,
It's like being in college and someone like making fun of you for wearing like cargo shorts or having your lanyard sticking out or something. You're like, okay, guess I'm gonna take this off now.
Yep,
Safety
exactly.
control. Nice belt, buddy.
Yeah.
I think on that one, I'll fish the JDM box bank, and then ditch the Basters, the club jerseys. Okay, this next one's gonna be fun. So we got Justin Bieber, Jake Paul, Randy Blockett.
Ooh. Look at Andrew's face.
Oh no. Oh.
Oh man.
Oh.
Putting
Can you trash them all? What if I just don't want to do any of them? I'm going to trash Justin Bieber.
Ooh, coming in hot.
I have to. I guess I'm gonna box Jake Paul. I don't. He boxes. I mean, he's literally gonna box Mike Tyson in a couple months. I saw on my Facebook.
Gag was the best one.
And then I guess I'm fishing Randy Blockett. Randy Blockett at least fishes. Used to. I don't know if he's still does even. All I know is he drives his truck now and makes videos. That's all I know that he does. That's where I'm going, I guess. I don't see another route here.
I don't know what I was getting into putting that one on there, but it's like, let's leave it.
I don't feel good about it.
Man.
Oh gosh. All right, Trevor. If you want to go.
Man, let's see. Because, like, I don't know, with the Biebs is like hit or miss, I feel like. Blockett, you know what you're getting. Jake Paul could be entertaining, yet could be just a horrible decision as well. Can we just lock them all in a box and throw away the key?
Could you imagine those three at a dinner table?
Auto-tune's ruining singing.
Yeah, that's right. Keep fighting the good fight.
Yeah.
Let's see. We'll fish with the Biebs. We'll box Jake Paul, and because we know what we're getting with Blockett, we'll trash him.
Yeah. I'm with it.
Yeah.
What you got, Andy?
I'm gonna trash Jake Paul. I just don't find him entertaining or amusing, really. I don't pay attention to him. I'm gonna box Randy because if I need a fishing partner, well, at least it's Randy. And then I'm gonna fish with Bieber because he plays hockey, and I think it'd be fun to talk to him about hockey. So,
isn't he Canadian?
He is.
There you go.
One of my favorite pictures of Bieber is when Chris Pronger checked him into the boards at the All-Star game, and Pronger was like laughing, smiling behind it, and Bieber looked like he was getting smushed like a mouse.
Oh yeah, that picture is hilarious.
It's such a good one.
Yeah. I'm definitely gonna trash Bieber. Just can't stand the guy. I don't know why. Forever, I just can't. Very anti-Bieber. I'm gonna box Randy because I can't take it anymore. And then I'm gonna fish Jake Paul.
Are you gonna black box Randy?
Yes. Yeah. There you go. I like your plan.
Am I the only one that fished Randy?
I think so.
Yeah.
When the competition is Jake Paul and Justin Bieber, and I'm the only one that fished Randy Blockett.
The way I see it is
social media, right? Like if you got with Jake Paul or Justin Bieber, you're probably going to get more fouls than Randy Blockett. So that's the way I was looking at it.
You're going for the clout.
I'm just going to do something stupid and like throw him in the lake, and then I'll just get a bunch of media attention from doing the Jake Paul.
You're going to see Bailey on TMZ.
Right. That's right.
Push a star boxer in lake off a kayak.
That's right. I would just love to know, like, how much are you going to pay Mike Tyson to let you beat him? You guys seen that? He's fighting Mike Tyson.
Yeah, like 40 years past his prime.
Mike Tyson's like 60.
I don't know if he can swing a right arm anymore.
I don't know, man. When he fought Roy Jones Jr. a couple years back, and he was training for it, and man, you watch some clips of Tyson, he still looks kind of scary. I wouldn't mess with him.
How old is Mike Tyson? 57.
Yeah.
You're fighting a dude that gets the senior rate at Golden Corral.
Yeah. The amount of money that I would pay to have it be like a legit scene out of The Hangover where he just straight up starts the round, just cleans Jake Paul. That would be, I think all of us men just need to watch that. we just need
Could happen, or he's going to bite his ear off.
That might be a stat line you can bet on.
It probably is.
We just need that. We need that as men.
Oh my god!
All right, getting off that soapbox. Back to fishing. We have the tube, the finesse swim bait, or a drop shot.
This one's easy for me. I am trashing the drop shot. We don't fish drop shots like around here almost at all. I'm fishing the finesse swim bait for sure, and I'm boxing the tube. Finesse swim bait around here is like, if you're not going out with, a little like, quarter ounce, 1/8 ounce head with a little paddle tail swim bait on the back, like just the way that we fish in the water that we fish, not going to be a good day if you don't have one with you. Tube is slept on around here. We have a lot of guys around here that keep it kind of hush hush, that smoke fish on tubes, but it's not the popular thing to do. Most people around here, Neds and, finesse jigs and stuff like that, but tubes straight up get bit. So that's still got to be in my box. And then I can do without a drop shot. So I know you guys are going to be different just because of where you fish, but that one's an easy one, I think.
I'm with it. Trevor?
Gotta fish the paddle tail swim bait. Gotta box the drop shot. I can trash the tube. I don't throw a tube at all. If you kind of craw tube, I guess we flip that a little bit in the grass. But if you're talking just a standard tube around rocks for smallmouth and that sort of jam, I don't do that much.
I'm totally with you on the craw tube.
So
Andy?
good. Oh man, this one's tough because I do all three of them a ton. Probably gonna fish a drop shot because that's what I do like 95% of the time after June on Erie. If I'm guiding, can I do like a wild card here? If I'm guiding, I'm gonna have a tube, I think. But if I'm out fishing myself, I'm gonna box a swim bait. So I'm gonna box a swim bait and trash the tube. Yeah, that's where I'm going. Sorry, you damn Jeopardy music.
You have a soundboard?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, some days it decides to work, some days it doesn't.
That's genius. What else is on it?
I don't even know. I think I might still have like our Christmas show, like the Grinch shit on here.
He's
We
got
can
Justin
find out if
Bieber.
you want.
Oh, do it. Just send it.
All right, yellow, green, or blue?
Blue.
Hey.
Grinch. It's good.
What is that from?
It's from
The
the Grinch,
Grinch.
man.
Oh,
All right. I don't even know if we want to go down that. That rabbit hole. I don't know what else is on here.
Oh man, that's good.
All right, we capped off with Andy. Yeah, I gotta go with Trevor's lineup here. Definitely fish a swim bait. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna trash the drop shot, and I'm gonna box the tube. Definitely gonna box the tube.
Do you guys still do the little deal up there where you take like little finesse swim baits and put them on like a little like naked football head up there and crawl them around?
Yes. I don't know what you're talking about.
Blink twice.
No,
blink twice if you need help.
yeah. No, I feel like it's a pretty
No, just
popular
go
thing now.
Kyle Patrick.
Point taken. Never mind. I retract.
If you don't know what you're doing, just
Yeah. I feel like that's pretty popular up here now.
yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of guys doing that.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay. Here's another Andy special, so prepare yourself.
Oh, I don't remember what I sent you anymore.
That's the best part about it is you forget half the shit you said. So we got Waffle House,
Oh yes.
Denny's, or White Castle.
Ooh.
Oh, this was gonna be easy till you threw White Castle in there. You trash Denny's, and if any of you say anything else, I don't know if we're friends anymore after this. I say you box White Castle and you fish Waffle House.
Okay. What do you got, Trevor?
I'm gonna
Gonna
fish
do it.
White Castle and go for it, even though it's gonna hurt on the way out. I've never had Waffle House, so we're gonna box that and
Okay.
save it for later, and we're gonna trash Denny's for sure.
Nice.
All right, Andy.
All right, I'm gonna fish Waffle House because every time I've been, it's been just a surreal experience, and it's usually in Ohio. So, and then I'm gonna box White Castle because I've yet to go to it, and then Denny's is just bad. So, trash Denny's.
So I've only been to Waffle House once, and when we went there, it was a Texas Waffle House because it was a Ray Roberts Classic. They're coming back from launch. It was, I think, 5 of us. We go to this Waffle House. We had some drinks the night prior, and we had to get up early for the Classics. We're like, "Can you get us some water?" And the lady comes, "We don't have any water." We're like, doing a double take. They're like, "You don't have water?" I'm like, "Yeah, we haven't had water for the past week." And I'm like, "Where the hell am I?"
Waffle House, baby.
Waffle House, baby.
Yeah,
We have coffee and sweat.
I think
Take
half
your
of us
pick.
had hair on our food, so it
Yep.
was. I don't know, man. I've had more pleasant experiences at a Denny's, so I'm gonna have to trash the Waffle House, and I'm sure I'm gonna get a lot of hate for that.
It's just an experience.
Yeah,
It's great food where you can go and you can watch some like
Chaos.
convicted felon scramble your eggs with his bare hands and give them to you, and they're the best scrambled eggs you've ever had in your life.
I don't know about all that.
And he
noise,
didn't
but-
wash his hands after he went to the bathroom.
I don't know. The Denny's I've been to have been rather at least clean up in my neck of the woods. So I might
The only
have
thing
to fix-
Denny's is ever good for is that video on YouTube where the kids have the Screamo band and they're like, "What the F is up, Denny's?" You ever seen that video?
We had a Denny's right down the street where I grew up, and that was like our drunk hangout at like 2 a.m. We would all just walk to Denny's and go in there. And the one party, we left 2 people there because they fell asleep, and they were still there when we went back for breakfast in the morning.
That's amazing.
They're like, "Oh, you're back for your friend." We're like, "Oh yeah."
Oh, we came back for food.
Yeah.
We just so happen to be here still.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to fish the Denny's, and I'll box the White Castle. Although I don't even know if I've been to a White Castle, to be honest.
White Castle is amazing.
Chef's kiss.
It's great going down, but it hurts coming out.
How many White Castles do you think you could eat in a sitting if your life depended on it?
Like, you talking sliders?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I could do a crave case for
Yeah,
sure.
I think I could too.
For sure.
Yeah.
You get some cheeseburger sliders, and you get a little bit of sriracha on there.
Yeah, a little variety in there. I had a friend in high school. This is a true story. The closest White Castle to us was about 45 minutes away, and he had White Castle for his graduation party. And it wasn't catered. Someone drove to the White Castle 45 minutes away with 2 big igloo coolers and bought all the White Castles and put them in the igloo coolers and drove them back 45 minutes. And then they sat on the table for like 3 hours, and everybody ate White Castle.
Dedication.
Yeah.
Good.
And everybody had food poisoning.
Oh,
after
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Busy bathroom.
Yeah.
Hope they had an outhouse.
Good Lord. All right. What's on the nicer side of crappy food? Let's go with Popeyes,
Ooh.
Chick-fil-A, or Bojangles.
Ooh. That's tough.
So I've never had Bojangles. So I'm
Okay,
trashing Bojangles. I'm boxing Popeyes. I'm fishing Chick-fil-A. The Lord's chicken cannot be beat. 17,000 cars in line. You're still through in 7 minutes. Like,
It's incredible.
they do it right.
And they say, "My pleasure."
My pleasure.
That's right.
It's always a goal too. It's like, how many times can you make them say it? You just thank them for everything. So it's like, can I take your order? Yes, please. Thank you. My pleasure. I'll take number 1, please. Okay. Like this. Thank you very much. My pleasure. And you just say thank you like 12 times, and they just sit there and look at you like they know what you're doing, but they have to
Because
say
they
it.
can't not.
They're being held at gunpoint, be like, say the thing.
The Lord's good.
Yeah.
That's right. It's funny. You bring up Bojangles. I'm surprised that you guys are familiar with Bojangles. I have family down in North Carolina, so I have experienced the gloriousness of Bojangles. And our CEO at Omnia, he calls it Bojangles. And Bojangles. And the funny thing he says is that Bojangles is the only place, fast food joint, that you can go to where you're happy when they insult you about what you're ordering. And you can go in there and not know anything about it, and they're insulting you, and you're just loving it because of it's that experience with Bojangles. I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna fish Bojangles because they've got much better sweet tea. I'm gonna box. Oh, it hurts me to say this. I'm gonna box Chick-fil-A because they got that chicken biscuit. Son. And then we'll have to trash Popeyes, even though I love Popeyes.
You ever had the little mini chicken biscuits for breakfast? The little like bite-sized ones?
Nuh-uh.
Oh, they do them like for catering and stuff, and then I think they sell them there too. But they're just like the quintessential, like you just have one more and one more. Next thing you know, you've eaten 47 of these little things, and you feel like you're gonna vomit. They're so good.
Awesome.
They're just like the little chicken nugget inside of a.
Oh, sure.
It's almost like a croissant, like the things that you pop the little, you open it and you roll them up and you put them in the oven. That's kind of what they taste like. They're so good.
Sure.
I'm gonna need you to do that sound again for my soundboard here.
Flaky, buttery goodness.
Yeah.
I love that he says Bohangles because I'm totally gonna start saying that now.
Bohangles.
Make that thing.
It's so good.
Until it comes to the point where Bojangles themselves start saying Bohangles. I think we should make this thing.
Yeah,
it's good.
All right, Andy.
Trashing Popeyes. I'm gonna box Bojangles because I've only had it once, and Chick-fil-A, but for breakfast. Like the kryptonite for me at Chick-fil-A is the chicken breakfast burrito. Incredible. But I think it's like a jalapeno, like pineapple salsa they give you to put on it. It's so good. So good. Yeah.
Pineapple jalapeno?
I think it's pineapple jalapeno salsa to put on your breakfast burrito.
If Chick-fil-A does it, you don't question it.
It's good.
That's fair.
It's good.
It's good.
I don't know. When I go to Chick-fil-A, I mean if it's not Chick-fil-A sauce, I ain't getting it.
Oh, I could drink Chick-fil-A sauce.
Oh, you couldn't. So
Can I get a Chick-fil-A sauce milkshake?
Yeah, I'll take a large Chick-fil-A sauce, no ice.
My 2 straws, please.
My
pleasure.
My pleasure. That's awesome. All right, on this one, I gotta trash Popeyes, and then Bojangles. I've traveled south a decent amount, and it's become a mainstay. Now that Chick-fil-A's up in the north, it's lost its luster for me. So I'm gonna have to fish Bojangles. I'm gonna box Chick-fil-A.
Whoa.
I think you can make.
I'm big on that sweet tea too. Like Trevor nailed that sweet tea.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
It's so good.
Just stick an IV in me with that sweet tea, man.
Yeah.
Yep. You know what the one issue I have with all these places and their sweet tea though is you have to ask it for light ice or no ice because it's like 9 parts ice, 1 part sweet tea, and I want like some drink to go with my food, not ice. So I'm always like, can I get light ice? Like, and they're like, what?
Well,
He's on to us.
You got to understand that it's so concentrated. It's like a syrup, so that when the ice finally melts in there, it turns it into what it's supposed to really be.
No, I want the syrup. Like, just give me the
Diabetes
syrup.
in a cup is what it is.
Yeah. Diabetes.
Diabetes.
Oh.
All right. So we got 2 left here. We got the Ned rig, wacky rig, or shaky head.
Well, that one's easy for me.
Fish in the Ned rig. Have to. I throw a shaky head more than I throw a wacky rig, but I have to box the wacky rig because those cover more situations. Like I can use a Ned rig and a shaky head a little bit more interchangeably than I can a wacky rig and a Ned rig. So I got to go fish Ned rig, box wacky rig, trash shaky head.
I'm with it.
Wacky. I'm gonna fish a wacky. The wacky is the bait that qualified me for the classic, so that's near and dear to the heart. Box the Ned rig because a shaky head is almost the same thing. So I'll trash the shaky head. I don't throw a shaky head like ever.
AZ Bait says you Northerners and your Neds.
He's not wrong.
It's out of necessity.
It's
Hey,
like those Southerners and their shaky heads.
That, but I've seen a lot of Southern boys start picking up the Ned. Like we got some. Call it my buddy Dylan from Georgia. He freaking throws a Ned everywhere. Straight fluoro too, and I can't get behind this whole straight fluoro.
Dylan from Georgia, is that Dillon too?
No.
Oh, okay. That's usually how Dylan from Georgia is spelled.
They do things different down there. But I don't know if you guys watch Damien Tao does I watch a lot of his videos on YouTube, and he's like a straight fluoro guy, and he's a freaking hammer
On a spinning rod?
Yeah, I can't. I don't know how my brain doesn't compute when it's like straight fluorocarbon. And
10 pound braid, 10 pound braid, 10 pound braid, 10 pound braid.
Yeah.
When I first started bass fishing, like braid wasn't really that much of a thing yet, right? In 2008, 2009. So everything was straight fluorocarbon, and it was hard to get good fluoro back then. It was Berkeley Vanish, 100% trilene, I think.
Red Label.
Yeah, Red Label might have been just starting onto the scene, and it was straight on the reel. And as soon as you open that bail, it's like, whoa. You had to open it up, pull it back behind the boat, like reel it on tight every 50, 60 casts, like cut everything off, pull it out. It was a mess.
It's funny you mentioned that. We got the show that Bassmaster put together when I won the bracket. I'm throwing a spinning rod, skipping Senkos and laydowns, and it's straight fluoro. And every time I watch it, I just cringe. I'm just like, dude.
You can hear it like shooting out the guides,
yeah,
like exploding.
Yeah, you fire it out there, you watch, and it's like
a slink,
and it's just like, what was I doing? Like the whole thing just springs out. It's like,
but braid wasn't what it is now. Like you had some braid, it was Power Pro, and that was about it. And we're like, oh, you don't use that for bass fishing.
I think there's something to it to an extent. Like, I mean, I don't have a firm grasp on it, but like that Damien dude, he's used it in a couple different different scenarios. But he almost won the Bassmaster Kayak Championship at Chickamauga last year. You guys will get this straight fluorocarbon on a spinning reel. I think it was maybe 10 8-pound test with a Carolina rig. A finesse Carolina rig through timber on Chickamauga. I'll send you the video. It's crazy, but he won.
It works.
But it also screams Chickamauga. It's the weirdest freaking lake in the country. But yeah, it just like I saw that and my jaw just dropped, and I'm like, what? Like I talked to some of my buddies that were fishing it, and they're like, yeah, they're like, I lost from the beginning. I launched because this guy's doing this. They're like, I would have never in my life thrown a finesse Carolina rig on a spinning rod. It's basically like, what do you call it? What was the like the split shot rig? What was that called?
Split shot rig.
Split shot rig. Yeah.
I think there was like another name for it, like not the Lindy. I can't. Never mind. I don't know.
The Lindy rig was its own,
Lindy rig.
like was its own like drop down weight that was essentially like a teardrop, but it was like slender and kind of curved. That was for dragging like worm harnesses and not getting snagged.
Yeah. It's kind of a Lindy rig, if I understand it correctly. It's kind of like a Carolina rig and a free rig put together, in a sense.
Oh, okay, I got you. All right, Andy, what do you got?
I'm going to fish the wacky, box the Ned rig because it's just a staple up here, and then trash the shaky head. I don't think I've ever fished a shaky head, to be honest.
All right,
never. Oh
Should.
man, see, this is what hurts because like a shaky head with like a little zoom trick worm on it's deadly.
Yeah,
just put it on a net head.
Yeah. I don't know.
You can do the same thing with like hula sticks, right? Like big long bait on a net head and catch just as many, if not more, fish.
I don't know. There's something to the shaky head. You can beef up your line a little bit more. I don't know. Well, I'm trashing the Ned rig. I hate a Ned rig, but I'm gonna box a shaky head just for like. I got on some pretty good bites. Speaking of Chickamauga, throwing a big Magnum trick worm on a shaky head and hitting them on 20-pound fluoro. But there's something so fun in the summertime, like once they start getting shallow, of like going hunting with fish shallow with a wacky rig. So I'm gonna have to fish the wacky. I think everybody would probably agree on that in the country to fish the wacky. Although, to your point, Trevor, them Georgia boys might pick up that shaky head first thing.
Yeah, they like throwing them on the floating docks and cables and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So driving to the ramp, we got, you going to fish, box, or trash country, rap, or rock?
Oh, God, that's hard.
I'm going to make a lot of people mad.
We're driving to the ramp in the morning, right?
Whatever. I mean,
Like early morning, like 4 a.m., 5 a.m.,
does this
dark
change
out.
your answer depending on the time of
Yeah.
day?
Oh yeah.
All right, give us a rundown then.
Right. Well, if it's early in the morning, I'm fishing rock, like blaring, keeping myself awake, like trying to get to the ramp, trying to wake myself up. I'd probably go country still second. I'd probably box country, trash rap. But if I'm like in the evening and I'm going out to somewhere, I'm probably not like metalheading it up on the way to, like a
do
nice
not
like
wanna
3
go for
4
a car
hour
ride with me,
evening. Yeah, no. So I'd probably go country the first one, but most of the time I'd probably say I'm fishing rock, boxing country, trashing rap.
With it.
I'm fishing rock, I'm boxing rap, and I'm trashing country. I don't listen to country at all.
Damn.
Like at all. I don't hate it. I don't dislike it. There's to me there's really no draw to listen to country.
I'd say like current day country, like modern country. I'll agree. I hate it. But like some of that bluegrass, like that's where it's at. Like
I couldn't tell you the difference between the two.
Yeah. Country from like 2004 and on is just modern rock. Like really, you can put the guitars and the drums and change the lyrics to rock music, and it's literally rock and roll.
Yeah, it's
with
like pop
country
rock with
twang.
just like a very subtle mandolin in the background or something. It's the same thing.
It's so weird. And it's like,
That's
oh
right.
man, but give me some Alabama, right? Like take me back. Yeah. Like good times. So can I fish all three because I have the most eclectic like music selection ever?
no, you need to choose.
Fudge. All right, I'm gonna fish rock. I'm gonna box rap as long as it's like early to mid 90s rap, the really good rap. And then I'm gonna trash country because it's more modern and I can't stand the new modern stuff. But yeah, I think that's where I'm going. But if it's like Garth Brooks and Toby Keith and Alabama, Brooks and Dunn, like I might have to fish that.
Yeah,
Like it's tough.
real country. How it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with that. I'm gonna have to trash rap. Just not big in. I was back in college. I'm gonna box country and I'm gonna fish rock all times a day. Just lay the hammer on it. Like no decibels possible to go higher. Like it's all the way up.
You want to talk about eclectic music taste? I just went to two sides of my desk here, and I have signed CDs from Slipknot and Metallica, and then on the other side of my desk, I have a signed Bassmaster magazine with Brad Paisley.
That's fantastic. We would get along. We would get along fine.
Yeah.
And you got Billy Strings on your show all the time.
Yeah, it's all about variety, Yeah. Balance.
My eclectic radio, was it Spotify, will take you through an emotional roller coaster on a ride to the ramp in the morning. I think Bailey has laughed, sang at the top of his lungs, and maybe even cried in the passenger seat of my truck.
That's true.
On the way to a tournament in the morning.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, pretty bad.
I can't think by the time we get to a ramp. I'm just like, I don't know what to do right now. You put the boat in. I'm just gonna sit right here.
Contemplate life
sulk.
for a few minutes.
Yeah, just gonna sulk for a bit.
Yes.
Well, fellas, that wraps up our game of fish it, box it, and trash it. Appreciate you boys taking some time out to jump on here. I think we definitely had some fun conversation nonetheless. But these are ones, dude, like I feel like I could come up with a giant list and do these shows for hours.
Oh yeah.
But
for sure.
Nonetheless, appreciate you boys for hopping on. Is there anything before we wrap up here? Is there anything that folks should be knowing what's coming up for either of you guys that they should look out for? Any shows coming up, Andrew?
I mean, yeah, we'll have one every Tuesday.
Yeah, I got
Well,
regularly.
I'll let you know what
scheduled
that Tuesday's episode is about Monday night at 9:30 p.m.
Nice.
date.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah, no, we got some cool ones coming up, but yeah, just keeping her steady.
Heck yeah, man. Trevor, anything?
Not a whole lot with Omnia. We're gonna be at the classics. If you guys are there, look for us. That's about
Heck
it.
yeah. Yeah, you guys have a full booth this year.
Yeah, we're partnering up with Aquaview and I think NBT and maybe
Okay.
Beatdown. So we'll be
Heck
right
yeah,
we'll
dude.
be right next to like the icon boats and all that sort of stuff. So if
Sweet.
you see us, come say hi.
Looking forward to
Oh,
it.
if you're near Icon, then you'll be right next to X2, I think.
Possibly.
Is that where
All
you
right.
guys are going to be? X2? Is
X2 is right going to be right near Icon. Yep.
that where you guys will be the most time?
For us, most part, yeah. We're gonna have some shows there, and then be going rogue a little bit, walk around. Of course, we'll be at the Omnia booth a little bit too. But for the most part, there's not a lot of our partners are going to be there. I know Hobie Eyewear, or I think Hobie Eyewear will be there. But yeah, we'll be mostly floating around, and I'm looking forward to it. The Classic's always fun. It's one of the 2-3 times a year I get to go and see everybody that we talk to all the time on social media or have on the podcast. So thoroughly enjoy it all, and I'm looking forward to seeing you down there, dude. Both of you, I guess. Actually, both of you will be down there.
Yeah, last year was my first one ever, and I don't think I'll ever miss one again after going to it. It was so much fun.
It was a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Are you guys going to Redcrest?
No.
Okay.
No,
I'm sorry. I didn't.
No, we actually just talked about that with Kyle and Wesley earlier on the show, and it wasn't like we wouldn't want to be there. We definitely wanted to be there because they treated us amazing last year when we went, and they put us up. Joe and Charity over at the MLF team, they're amazing people. It's just none of our sponsors are going, and back-to-back weeks, like we're paying out of pocket to travel these things, and it's just business decisions. We're still going to cover it next week, and I'll be rooting on some of our boys that are fishing it, but Classic's classic, man. It's just facts.
Classic.
That plane ticket to Tulsa drained your boy dry. It's
It ain't
expensive
cheap.
to fly into Tulsa. Holy
You
moly.
know why? It's because it's their spring break. Like 90% of the country's on spring break that week.
But who
that's
goes
why
to
prices
Tulsa
keep
for
going.
spring break?
Tulsa?
Well, Tulsa's a layover destination for some airlines, so all airline tickets are really jacked up.
Man,
Across the
I would
board
take a
everywhere.
layover in Tulsa and just not go on the next flight. Shoot, man. Every flight that I looked at is like layover in Denver, layover in Atlanta or something, and then go to Tulsa.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, it was coming to the point where I'm sitting there talking with my boss, and I'm like, man, it might be cheaper for me to drive to this thing. Like, honestly,
I looked at it too.
yeah. Well, boys,
Yep.
appreciate you guys for hopping on and joining in here.
Absolutely.
Definitely gonna get you guys back on for more of these, but appreciate y'all. Obviously, guys, if you live under a rock and you don't know, check out Tackle Talk podcast. Does some amazing work over there, and Trevor will be getting you back on here, I'm sure, real soon.
sounds good. Appreciate y'all.
All right, boys. I'll talk to you soon.
See y'all.
Andy, I thoroughly always enjoy the fishing box attraction because it definitely turns into some fun conversation.
Oh man, that one got a little wild at times. That was fun.
It did, but I think rightfully so. It'll be all good nonetheless.
Oh my gosh.
Man, I'm looking forward to, speaking of the Classic, I'm looking forward to going down there. Part of me wishes like that I was driving. If it wasn't so bumped together with all my other travel, I definitely would have thinking about driving so I could go fish along the way and things like that. But next year I'll be driving down to Texas for whatever
because you gotta
getting third at that Bassmaster kayak event automatically qualified me for the championship next year, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Has me questioning if I want to go fish more of those events this year because of this year with the economy and things like that, just like saving money. But because you only need 3 events to enter the AOI race, and I'm like a third. It's a great start to.
Yeah, is there any closer to home?
There's a Susky. That's why I'm thinking if I could try to make one, but the other ones I can make are like Gunnersville, Possum Kingdom, which is in Texas, which I love to go to because I love that lake, but it's a freaking 22, 23 hour drive.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things I just don't know yet. I think I'd have to ditch out in some local stuff if I went to the Gunnersville one. And again, I've never been to Gunnersville, so it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, AOI, I feel like is something I want to be a part of and try to compete in, but I think I need to wait for a year that I'm better suited to fish a complete schedule. Whereas
Oh,
this
that
year,
makes
it's like
sense.
already qualified for the championship. Like that was a goal. I mean, really, I just wanted to go fish. Murray just seemed like a fun destination, and it was cool that we qualified for it. Definitely going to fish the Susky event because it's in the fall too, so it's going to be a fun time. And the
Ooh, that
Susky
would
is
be
Susky,
fun.
man. So that place is always awesome. But now I'm trying to qualify for the Hobie Championship as well. So we got those coming up. We got the first one on Norman here in a month. That's going to be going down that way, which is actually like at this rate, it's funny how a 9-10 hour drive becomes nothing these days.
Oh, I know. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's fine. I can drive that overnight. So like it'll probably end up being like a work the whole day and start driving at 5-6 p.m. to start
You're
practice the
nuts.
next morning.
You're insane.
When you don't have kids, you
Yeah,
can do those kind of
it's
things.
fair.
So, but man, that was a fun episode. Appreciate Kyle and Wesley coming on here. Definitely I truthfully want to make that a thing throughout the season, get them back on as like a check-in point.
Yeah, and it's cool that they're rooming together, so it makes it a little easier too.
Yeah, who knows if they'll be rooming together at that point. They might
Yeah.
kill each other about Airbnb rooms, but nonetheless, those boys are a good time. I'm looking forward to meeting Wes in person and rooting on Kyle in the Classic, and then seeing Andrew and Trevor at the Classic as well. It's going to be a good time. So, I'll remind everybody we're going to be doing in-person shows at the X2 Power booth at the Classic, but also in that booth, but also on me as well. We'll have a bunch of Serious Angler hats. So if you guys want to get some, we'll be handing them out to you if you come up to us, whatever. Say hello, chat, happily give out some Serious Angler hats. Looking forward to just being at the Classic, man. It's a fun time with everybody there.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be a bummer. I don't have the captain or deacon with me, but
I still might make my way there. I haven't decided yet. So
you're a wild card, man.
I know.
You don't even tell me. You just like show up. You just be there. I'm like, oh, hey, Andy.
At this point, I'm trying to find someone to drive down with me. So if I can find someone to drive with me, I might make the drive.
Ford's gonna make it there.
Yeah, it's all fixed for now.
For now, so you drive to Tulsa.
Until I drive to Tulsa, I'm gonna take the wife's car. Should probably kill me. It's brand new.
Yeah, dude, we wife and I just entered. She's looking at a new car now, so it's like, man. And then I got the green light to buy some other things, but we'll talk about that at a later date. But it's like we're making big moves, looking and getting out of.
There's a house for sale, like 10 houses down for me.
Man, I think we've officially moved into that
going
zone
south.
Like, if we buy a house, it's not going to be in New York. I think we're in that state now. Yeah, so
I don't blame you. So.
I might be pinging some of our listeners, viewers, if anybody's out, and I'll talk about that at a later date because none of it's concrete, but might be pinging some people about certain locations, what it's like to live there. But always taking recommendations because like she's a PT. She can go wherever. I can go wherever. As long as I got Wi-Fi, I can work there. I just want to be near bodies of water. But I'll at least say this: we're looking at like that Greenville, South Carolina area. I'd love to be near like Hartwell, awesome Murray, spot. All those places. Man, I don't know. Part of it's like they seem like super fun fisheries, so I fish both of them. I enjoy both, but also, man, I want to get some years in with spotted bass. I just want to learn them, because those fisheries are changing a bunch. So I don't know. That's a whole nother soapbox that we can save for another show. But
it's funny, like Amanda and I talk about like the Classic at Greenville, and I think it's like one of our favorite cities that we've been to. There's awesome. Just so much to do. It's so clean. All the food was great. Like it was top tier spot. Like
I think in a spot. Dream scenario is she finds a PT job she loves between Murray and Hartwell, because I think that's where I want to be right now. And works out too because got family up near Raleigh, and it's a 8.5 hour drive down to Florida to my parents. My brother's still screwed because that bastard moved out to Utah. But then like Rudd and all them, they're a 3 hour drive to Knoxville. Like it's kind of like the middle of everything, It'd be super nice. So, I don't know. We're gonna see. I mean, life is gonna happen as it will, but we're looking at making moves nonetheless. Who knows? This is probably me going on here and I'll be in New York for another 10 years. Who knows?
I'll laugh. No, I'm just kidding. You won't be in New York another 10 years. You'll move when the time is right.
Yeah, so. Well, I'm not even gonna get political on it, but it's not easy for us in our stage. That's for dang sure. But dude, great show tonight. Next week we got another heater coming out for you guys. We're actually going to be live next week, I promise. We're going to be live on Tuesday night, and we got some fun guests coming up. We're going to try to get on Mikey Balls to join us for that show. If not, it'll be in the next coming weeks. We also have, oh my gosh, it's blanking me right now.
I hate it when that happens.
Shoot. I literally had it right. Either way, tune into the social. I don't want to pull it up right now because we have a few different things lined up for the coming weeks with Classic and everything like that. We are going to have the Monday of the Classic. We'll have our fantasy fishing show that Monday night. And then the Tuesday night we'll have our live before I leave for the Classic. So maybe we'll try to bring on somebody that is from that Oklahoma area that can talk to Grand Lake, but also just have a fun game show as well that night. And then we'll go to the Classic, and we'll probably have a sporadic schedule of shows throughout that week because we'll do some on-site shows with like Sean from X2 and some of the X2 pros. Some different people around from the Classic and friends of ours that we'll try to rope into some in-person shows that we'll have on the road. So there's a good chance there's only two shows that week, or there could be 7. So either way, we're going to throw some out there, have some fun. Looking forward to that. Make sure you guys are following the Serious Angler social to keep up with all the updates on that. And then I'm looking forward to Tuesday night's show because it's going to be a lot of fun and previewing Red Crest.
Yeah.
So it's got to think.
Oh, yeah.
Justin Sandell's got to be the favorite for that thing.
Oh, absolutely. Or Wheeler, right? Like
one of the two. Yeah.
Unreal.
Mr. Higgs is asking Classic giveaway packages. You know what, guys? They're actually, that's a great point. It's been hectic, the past month or so with us all over the place. Wrapping some things up from 23, but also making sure we're headstrong at 24. We do have some big stuff to give away here soon. We have some Blackfish gear we're going to give away to you guys. So stay tuned to that because we're going to do some different giveaways throughout the year for Blackfish gear. And so again, make sure you guys are tuning in the shows. We'll announce it once we have those worked up, but then, be following us on social media. One of those things will be as well, if you want to get a head start on it, to enter it is leaving us a rating and review on either Spotify or Apple Podcasts. That helps us out big time. And if you already got on there, you'll be entered into that. So, as well as I have not forgotten about the people that have sent screenshots about stickers. We are working on that. We just we're trying to have it not be like a really crappy sticker. We want it to actually be something you actually want to put on something. So don't worry, we have those saved. So if you did send a screenshot of putting a review on our show and send it to us either email or DM on social, we have it saved. I have a list going. So that being said, that's still going. That's going to be an ever constant thing. If you go and leave us a rating and review, screenshot it, send it to us as proof, send us your address as well, and we'll send out some stickers and such to you guys as well. Much appreciated. But
absolutely,
Andy, great show tonight. Thank you again for holding down the fort last week. Much appreciated. And what's coming up for Lure Lab this weekend?
Oh, funny. One of our guests that we just had on tonight, Trevor, is joining us Saturday, and we're basically going over all the different types of heads, baits, and even setups you can use to throw a Ned rig. So we have a Ned rig episode coming up Saturday morning.
Retro, as he ditched the Ned rig. Or no, he ditched the sheep pen.
Yeah, he ditched. He's a Ned rig fanatic up there, and I've talked to him quite a bit about it. He fishes a Ned rig a ton, so it's like, oh, that'll be a good fit.
Oh boy.
So yeah.
All right. Well, make sure you guys tune into that on the Lure Lab. Links are everything down below. And folks, appreciate y'all. And we'll see you next Tuesday. Peace.